Okay. I'm so thankful to God that I've never been this compromised and humiliated by reality. Um, one thing is for sure, as a target individual, reality is restructured in ways that you look at these people and you ask yourself, man, this is something else. You are such an opportunist that you have accepted to dumb yourself down this way, and I'm not going to let you escape. This participant, another reason why I'm in this program, I was put in this program by my old employer, and currently I'm employed by people who I guess were trying to paint a picture that's falsified. And it's just so foul. The reality of how they were trying to paint things, and to find out that not only they are trying to the way they just created this retardation of a perception, but a lot of it is even trying to exaggerate to hype themselves down, to hype themselves up, to do what they do. It's like they trick themselves by creating even a false version of reality to deal with what they're involved in. They're a clown. Every day I make sure to listen to the reality of what these people are part of. Right? There's this tactics of trying to make you believe this is anything but this massive government running this program. Right? You're gonna hear that from other target individual, and you should hear this perps. Oh God! But I just don't want them to try to play this game in front of me, because I will humiliate them one way or another. Thankfully, I'm not this person capable of doing other things like some people have. But the mistake they're gonna make is just think that I'm gonna get into that level of retardation that they've put themselves to. Oh my gosh, the way they make themselves angry is just ridiculous. I'm looking at them, it's like, really? Matter of fact, sometimes they make themselves angry on a version of reality they've themselves created, and then they start acting. Now they have this perps around here. There's different perps. So I have the perps and the next door neighbor perps. They are just another level of retardation. For example, I just saw this woman walking downstairs, down the hallways. I saw her, and she's trying to walk with anger. I'm like, this woman think. I wonder, like, does she wonder how I'm looking at this woman? To me, it's just like, you are such a foul human being. You are listening to what I'm listening to what I'm listening to right now. The things that you're involved in are so evil, not just because it's happening to me, but who else is happening it to, and you know that very well. You yourself perhaps have children, most likely have children, and what you're hearing right now is things that you hear in third world country war crimes, but it's done using the same technology utilized onto me by the same entities that you are contracted by. Now the storylines, the bullshit stories like, it's a manual dancing. Do you really? You see how embarrassing you are? First of all, I'm in New York City, so you understand. New York City is New York City. This is not in La La Land. This is not Fantasy Land. This horrible things happening every day. Maybe not even too far from where I'm living right now. I reassure you, they know that the real threat is not me. They're not this stupid. They live life. They just make themselves stupid when it's convenient to them. There is no way that I'm going to let them escape into that fantasy of how they try to paint this false reality in order to deal with reality. Let alone what they evolved in. Let's not even look at outside of this program. Within the program these people are involved in, these testimonials are testimonials that you're going to hear, that you've heard many times, and I will bring that 1 billion times if I have to, because I will make sure they're blessed the proper way. They think they have made this thing a normal thing. They've normalized this torture that they even apply onto children. But to see how comical they become and the things they say to me, I'm like, these people are seriously, they have tricked themselves to this level. That's why I say, thank God. And if it ends today, it ended with me having the ability to see things for what they are and truly see this slow life for what they are. If they think at this point there's any ways they can look like anything but trash, they're delusional. If they think that they are here protecting any children by being involved in this program, They're delusional as it gets, and I'm not going to let them escape in that delusionality that they're obviously not that delusional, but they make themselves go to that point. Of course, what I'm saying is nothing new. It's because what I'm saying is something they try to block out to do what they do. That's their job. They have to deal with what they do every day. They have to. I'm sure the incentives are so amazing. Not only just financial aspect of it, but what they get out of just being involved themselves in a program that does these things to people with this level of sophistication. So much so that they have made themselves damn near mentally retarded. Mentally have put themselves into a level that's disgusting. These people, some of them over here have children. I think majority of them here have children. Right? I blur their faces because at the end of the day, they're nobodies in the sense of what's happening to my program. They are not responsible for what's really happening to me. They participated, but it's just one of many. This group of people. I will never go through whatever I'm going to go through and be like, oh, this is the people. No. I will look at this. This is the faces of how delusionality can be created. This foulness. They will answer to that one day. They will get theirs. It's just a matter of time. Today, they're gods. Today, they can go and escape into that fantasy. Well, actually, not even today. Today, they can block it out. But now, I'm not going to help them with that. I am a test subject like so many others. I know that the government is using me as a test subject because this technology that's been developed, which is a weapon at this point, for years and decades, way even before I was even born. Maybe even before some of these people in front of you were born. And the reason why today is so sophisticated is because human beings were used as guinea pigs. And now I'm a guinea pig. I was put here by an employer who, trust me, they're not renowned for the protection of children. Matter of fact, these people are humiliated because there's certain things they can't say. You want to hear the full name of this individual. Now, let me say something. These people have done so much foul things to the most innocent individuals. And when I mean these people, is this program. Obviously, when I think about what's happening to me, I will never, like I said, I will never be, these are the reason why, these people are the reason why this is happening to me. I've understood the reality of what I'm part of. So these governmental entities, which these trash are participants in regard of implementing the tactics that is supposed to break down the target individual, because this is like somewhat of a cognitive warfare that we test subjects, guinea pigs, I guess, target individuals. I just target individuals for guinea pigs for. So they are utilizing this very sophisticated technology program, using us as these guinea pigs, and it's like being a test subject for this cognitive warfare that we're just easy targets to develop this technology. And there's people who aren't those people are contracted, right? These people are not working for the DoD in this directly, but this program is run by the DoD, so they are contracted one way or another. But in fact, there's even actual children involved in this, so you understand that this technology is such a sophisticated technology that a childlike person, meaning an actual child, can be involved in this. They're not prodigy; they're regular kids. But this technology is so sophisticated that an actual child can be involved in it. So it should give you an idea that they really, maybe you even have to minimize yourself, like your intellect. In some cases, especially when it comes to gaslighting you, because gaslighting, as I always said, gaslighting is to try to paint this false reality and make you somebody who's logically conscious believe this bullshit of a reality that's so falsified that it's like comical at this point. It's damn near comical. So you have these people here, right? They make themselves angry in certain levels that I'm like, oh my goodness, you realize how stupid you have to be. And they think that the way they're gonna act, and matter of fact, you hear you see the title arsenic. They tell me how they're poisoning my food. They're putting arsenic in something in my food or something, which I won't be surprised. But at the same time, I'm like, what do you even really need to do that? Because this technology doesn't really need poisoning in that sense. I mean, they literally can shut my organs down and make them work again. They can restrict my lungs. So we talk about DOD technology. I've experienced things they've done to me that are just really very, like, I mean, I don't even can surpass any poison you can imagine. I've experienced it myself. They have made me have problem breathing, restrict my breathing, my lungs, and then make it work again. Which they've done that to children too. Suffocation. They've closed my throat or done things to me that is just almost surreal. Made me want to use the restroom. Stop me from wanting to use the restroom. Like the control and manipulation of what they can be doing to your body is crazy. Now I feel like sometimes for the theatrical aspect of things, they want to create this like very primitive or like old school, like, you know, like things that they're like, oh, we're gonna poison you, as if like they need poison. They can literally shut down my immune system. But I think in their mind, they think, oh, he's then going to think this is a different group. This is not the government. I'm like, what? You can actually do so much more harm with this technology than anything that you can do with this, you know, tools that they're just like, you can make me feel pain with that. A single thing done to me, literally. So the rest is really more like they try to create this theatric of a reality. That's like that, a theatric. But you have already done certain things to me to let me know that we can do so much to you without us being even near you, like in the sense of without you seeing us. We can cripple you right now. And nobody's going to hit you, nothing. We, from where we stand, from the remote location that we are, even if it's your next door neighbor, whatever, we can cripple you right now. and finish you off. Now, I know the reason why this can happen to me is not because these people next door are here avenging. It's because I'm a test subject where this DOD technology can do so much to you remotely. But this is the same technology that they have applied onto children to develop this technology, this weapon. You know what? One of the things they said to try to counter reality is like, you know, with you, it's gonna be our worst. These are the most disgusting things I've heard. Like when I hear them say that, I understand why some people can lose their mind to the point of causing horrible things. Like mass shootings, which you're going to hear. It has happened. What they're trying to say is, yes, you heard the testimonials of what we've done to children. You're going to hear them again here. You're going to hear a child as young as 3 weeks old getting sick, getting rashes, which my skin is having issues. I don't think it's because of any poisoning, but they can do things to my skin, to my body. They can make me have rashes. They can dry up my skin. They can make my body sweat. They play with like the level of manipulation they can make me experience are insane. And definitely have made me experience things with skin, funguses, and things like that. That's basically validates that they do these things to, you know, what this child, this 3-week-old baby, not even an infant, forget it, an infant, 3-week-old. This 3-week-old little girl, 3-week-old baby. I say little girl like that because, as I say that, they manipulate my brain this way. But I want to repeat that just to show how insanity and how my brain is so manipulated that they can have rewired me to experience even things when I say certain things. It's so disgusting. But it's part of this program, which you're going to hear. The embarrassment and the very embarrassing part of this is everything I say. As crazy as it is, as science fiction as it sounds like, it has been validated by others because they have experienced exactly the same thing. Matter of fact, it gets so scary that I have, before even finding out that this is a whole program led by these governmental entities that was It's been implemented for decades, and they've been using human subjects as test subject for years, to the point where in 2011, they were like this whole bioethics, where the government, the United States, decided to have this bioethics to just address if any potential human experimentation or human subject were used in these ways, and a bunch of targeted individual came up, hundreds. Start saying, this is happening to me. Others coming, it's like, I have this. These people are coming up saying the same thing. It's like literally the same testimonials all around the country. This is global, but it's also very much domestic. There's women, there's men, and there's even children, all saying the same thing. And all saying that we are being used as test subject. This is obvious. This is governmental led. It's obvious that the Department of Defense is involved. There's like these fingerprints of all like the CIA or this US intelligence all over this program. This is happening from New York to Michigan to California. Testimonials in 2011. Official. You can see that if you go to the bioethics meetings of 2011, you hear testimonials from women, men, all around the world, all around the country, matter of fact, speaking up about how the horrible things they deal with, saying we are being used by these governmental entities. We need help. I'm being used in this fashion. Me and my young child and I are being tortured these ways. This technology coming from the Department of Defense is being utilized onto me. Now, me, before even knowing this thing was a real thing, not understanding what was I really being put in, I wrote a letter, right, after August 19, 2019, saying, oh my gosh, this is happening to me. I'm thinking it's only happening to me. I got to do my part. If before I die, I make sure I say whatever needs to say. I write a letter. I send it to a bunch of media outlets, from The Guardian to Vice.com to New York Times, a bunch of media outlets, right? A bunch. And I'm saying this is happening to me, and this is crazy. I know it's going to sound insane, but what I'm saying is my brain is being manipulated. Not only they can see what's happening to my brain, but my brain is being manipulated. You're going to hear what I said. And since that day, I have not been experiencing my own thoughts. My thoughts are being manipulated. Mind you, I have no idea that others are going through the same thing I'm going through. I'm sending these letters, these emails to this media outlet in early 2020. I haven't found out anything about target individual. Literally describing exactly what I'm saying, what's happened to me. Nothing. Right? I describe it literally what you're going to hear. And you're going to hear a man called John Hall, or one of Dr. John Hall. And at this point, this man has been very much involved in the target individual. Not only this guy, the reason why this guy, I guess, is a bit more credible than a lot of us target individual, because he's actually a doctor. He's a medical doctor who met a few target individuals who said the same things. And he say, oh no, there's currently technology called EEG cloning, EEG heterodyning, that's not only can capture your neural network, but it's being manipulated and put it back in your brain. And so these people are doing that and creating a design reaction, emotional or physical of some sort, to make you experience this way. And this cloning where they can make you think in these ways, describing literally what I'm saying. Matter of fact, this is not the only one. There's another man called Robert Duncan. He's more of a person who worked with this technology way before I even know. He was writing books in 2014, 2015. I didn't know. He's literally saying that this technology is literally rewiring the thought process of target individual. And there's this whole thing called like this offensive information warfare. And the keyword is offensive, in the sense of like to disturb a target individual. And it's meant to, this is a whole game where they are using these test subjects to see what the most efficient way, the tactics of deceptions and trickeries when it comes to this manipulation that can drive this target individual to their death. And so they use people from all culture, all around the world, and work on these matrices to see, what works, what doesn't work, adjust whatever needs to be adjusted, and continue to update. Now, you're going to hear these things, and now you're going to see these people's face. I want you to see the faces of people who dumb themselves down. And now with a lot of the trickeries are, for me, there's like a deception tactic of trying to present themselves a certain way. Well, at least presenting themselves in a certain way. They want you to see them as, listen, I'm a sensible individual. Look at me. Matter of fact, I'm a parent. I have children. I'm a smart human being. I am able to do this and that. So, you should see me as a good person. Now, unfortunately for them, this is not the first time they do that to other people. People all sorts try to gaslight you, and they're perps. You're going to hear that. You go to your job, you're going to hear people saying the foul thing. This is happening to people who are so much more vulnerable than me. We're talking about women with children, single mothers being treated like trash. Women, like people that you couldn't even imagine being treated in this foul way. It's like, how can you even be able to be this disturbing, like a poor woman like that, and be this evil to her? So you can only imagine you. But the whole family, they would treat this whole family, from the mother to the child, in this disrespectful, disgusting ways, and use them as test subject. But coming from people like everyday civilians. I mean, we're talking about co-workers insulting the other co-workers. Matter of fact, one woman, literally, and for me it's just disgusting, because one of the things they do, and for me, is like, women, right? They try to use gender too sometimes. I think they try to change it up, but at the end of the day, it's going to be some kind of gaslighting of all sorts, right? I think when I'm like, okay, at this point, because they've done this thing too often, they're going to switch it up to have some guys, some men who somewhat look sensible, like respectable people, because with the women, they've done it too much, that it looks too obvious, that it's falsified, that they play this game. And the man comes like, because at this point, they've made me already connect this woman in this negative way. Now they come this man who's supposed to be like respectable person, and they talk in this very sensible way. I'm like, you're a piece of fucking no life. You're even worse than this woman. I understand what you're trying to do. You think I'm looking at you in a sensible? You're a piece of shit. And so, for me, it's so disgusting. But I'm so thankful, and I have to say thank you, God, that I was able to see things for what they are. I'm able to express myself like that, and it's not easy. Under the circumstances I'm in, I'm by myself. Can you understand how hard it is to maintain the right perception? Everybody around you is trying to make you believe, and family members are involved, of course. And you're going to hear that it's nothing new. The reason why I'm able to see this in this way is because I've been too validated by testimonials. I was somebody who was sure of myself. This thankfully happened to me when I'm older and very sure of who I am as a person. And when it happens to me, the V2 case started, the synthetic telepathy, the manipulations started after I was in my 30s. But then I'm already sure of who I am. I don't need validation. And so I'm thankful that happened after, when I'm already very self-confident and comfortable with who I truly am. So as they try to rewire you and manipulate you, you're like, you're a clown. On top of that, you're not somebody who can make me accept these manipulations. I don't respect you. I know who I am for real. You can do all the noise campaigns, slam the doors, do the things, and make yourself feel like I get mad at this. Shut up. You're a clown. I know what you're doing. You try to gaslight me. Do I look like somebody who can be gaslighted by somebody like you? No. And because of that, I'm sure that there's going to be theatrics of torture. Now, let's start with why I'm using these people's face. Now, I say one of the all the way there, she's telling me how they're going to be drugging me with arsenic. I won't be surprised, but the truth is I should be worried more than arsenic will not be the worst thing in comparison to what they can do to me. And I'm not talking about poison wise, and what they can do with my organs. So if it's arsenic that I'm worried about, trust me, I should worry about some much more. Whatever I'm drinking, I'm never know. Like, did they put something in my drinks? Yeah, probably, maybe not, maybe I don't know. But sometimes it's just the psychological manipulation because they can still, they can do so much harmful things to you without poisoning you, literally. So sometimes the games they play is like you eat something and you start feeling sick and you're like, oh, maybe it's because I ate this. The truth is, no, it's because they do something to your body, because this technology can do something to your body. They can target organs, manipulate certain organs for you to experience that. And you start like having these false correlations, thinking, oh, I ate that, this is probably because it's poison. Sometimes it's not poison at all. And I've understood that. It's like, oh, this is not, most likely not even poison. You're just doing something with this technology that can do things to my body. And I'm going to start being paranoid every time I'm eating. But hey, please, with all due respect, these people who can be involved in this program that torture children can easily poison you. Oh, there's no self-respect here. I don't know how they do the level of no respect for themselves they have. And you got to understand, these people are involved in a program that torture children. So would they poison you? Of course. What? Nothing. Like, it's nothing. They torture children in this program. I mean, every day they tell me how they're gonna frame me by using a child here. Like, you understand? They're gonna use their own children. I don't even want to put that picture on YouTube to show how fucking sad it is and pathetic it is. And they tell me this is the children they're gonna use to frame me. Pathetic kids. Like 13, 14, you look, oh my God. And of course, because they have this ability to do things to my brain, they can make me react a certain ways. But this is part of the technology. I feel bad to even put these pictures, because as you can see, I can put pictures like that. It's blurred. You're not gonna see. I'm embarrassed for these kids to do that. So for me, I just gotta remember reality, because their job is to create this false reality, and this is non-stop. And being by yourself, isolations, helps that. You're alone, and you have people all around you, including your coworkers, including your family members, to make you accept these things. And at this point, it's going to be hard to create this that make me accept this false reality. Now, there's a picture up there, and this is how crazy things are in the way they wish reality was. Not even the way reality was, how stupid they think I'm going to let them in that la la land of fantasize. You're going to hear some of the foulest things implemented even onto children. Listen, I look at these people and I recognize them for how dumb they have to make themselves be, because I know they're not this stupid or this illogical. You see these two kids on top. One of them is me. But the reason why I use this picture is to put things in perspective, because they really want you to dumb yourself down. They will make you think like you're a genius, because they themselves dumb themselves down to make you accept this false reality. They gaslight you at least they try to gaslight you. Me, I recognize it as gaslighting. So what it makes me feel like, it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I that logical? Am I that genius? That much of a genius? No. Even that would be a mistake, would be delusional for me to think that way. They just have to dumb themselves down to this level. And I recognize it for it. Please, I see them through. I see through every bullshit they try to make you believe. Oh, they say you'll die for it. We know what they try to talk about. But in fact, they even exaggerate to the point where it's just so disturbing. Not only they try to put things in that perspective, but the exaggerations of what I actually did as a child is created, and then they make themselves angry with the things they created themselves, with the exaggeration. I'm like, wow, not only you have to dumb yourself down like that, on top of that, you have to add to it, exaggerate it, to make yourself believe that this is actually what happened. You're literally creating this falsified reality, make yourself angry, while being involved in a program where I know that what this is really doing to even children. These people are clowns. The truth is, I'm the one who should look at them as like, you are a piece of low life and you should die for what you be involved in. I should be the one saying that. Obviously, that's not what I think. I think live this nasty life, embarrassing low life. I should be the one looking at them in a negative way and like, you are a bunch of low life. And I do look at them in this way, but minus the aggression, the real aggression. I'm looking at you like I look at them for the trash that they are. You have no fucking shame? Do you respect yourself? Do you think I'm going to let you escape yourself? I understand you love this program for what it offers you, the incentives. I'm sure it's even fun. But please stop the acts. Because the true anger should come from me. The true anger should come from somebody like me who knows what you guys do. And then try to make you... And they you know how they try to rewire reality in such a level. So you're gonna be lashed out. You're gonna be. I rather get castrated. I rather get lashes. I rather get electrocuted, because I know what you do to children, and I know what it means to be involved in the program that you're involved in. That's why you can use childlike individuals to be a perps to partake in this program. They try to agitate me. Oh, we're men. It's like, no, you're cowards and low life that torture even infants, and you know that. But it's okay. To do what you do comes at a price, and you'll get that price. For me, you have given me dignity, because I know my real imperfection. Trust me, it's none of this shit that they try to make me accept. But you've given me a sense of dignity that is surreal. This is what target visual, we become so spiritual and believe in God even more, because we are thankful in certain level. No, we're not thankful to be tortured. We're not thankful to live this suffering way, to be handicapped or whatever's going to happen to us. But we're thankful that we're not these people. As healthy as these people are, as free as they are. I don't think there's a single target individual who want to trade places with any of these people. Even though they are living way better than any other target individual, because they're able to be free. They do whatever they want. They think the way they wish they can live life. But I'll be surprised if any target individual will want to trade places with any of these people. And why is that? Free to do whatever they want, free to live a dignified life. Why would a target individual not want to trade places? It's not unique to me. It's at the price that you're going to hear, which is going to be collected one way or another. Not today, maybe, but everything is at its time. You have people who have to stoop to a level that's so low. Man, some of them are already low, right? Some people, this is not too far from where they already are. And I've recognized some of them. I'm like, you're already a low life person. This is just like, that's nothing new to you. You've been there before. You're already low. Without this program, you'll be doing something disgusting. I can tell. This just gives you a little something. But there's others who stoop to that level and still want to be normal people. I prefer this trash that I hear every day that is already the low life. I see them as low life. They know when I'm going to see them, I'm going to see. It's like, yeah, you're not really doing much different. Like I can see you not going too far from where you actually are. But this trash here try to still be like normal, decent human beings. Like try to present themselves as such. He's a you crazy. At least I respect the other person over there. They owned what they really are. And I see you as that. The things they try to exaggerate is what I did as a child around the same age as this kid. Oh, the action there. Oh my God, we're going to pay for that. You're going to suffer for it. You're going to starve for it. You're going to die. You're going to burn for it. Like, oh my goodness. I'm talking to people involved in a program that literally suffocate kids as young as 7 years old. You're going to hear that. Sometimes I look, when they say things like that, I look at this picture, I listen to the testimony that you're going to hear what they do to children, and I'm like, oh, die. I just try to imagine myself being them, having to act this way. Oh, God, pay for it, pay. And they really act in this way. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're just literally trying to counter this horrible torture of a fucking 3-week-old baby, but talking about what I did as a child, which you have to even exaggerate. And I pay, you're gonna die for it. As I'm listening to this woman saying, this 4-year-old was grabbing her private part. This 4-year-old with Down syndrome, which you're gonna hear, grabbed herself because she was being tortured in this way, in a sexual way, using this technology that can harm you sexually, meaning they can target your genitals, and they do that a lot. Genital, for some reason, are very much targeted to break you down, to hurt you, to harm you. You're gonna hear that. Listen, everything I'm gonna say, you're gonna hear. I'm gonna bring up what has been done to others. They have this tendency to do sexual torture of some sort. So this sexual torture is also done to children. 3-year-old babies being targeted sexually. And to try to call it like, now you pay. Look at this picture over there of kids. Now you pay. They involved in a program where you're going to hear babies as young as 3 years old sexually torture. This little boy, he was grabbing his genitals because he was harmed there. Using this technology that target the genitals. And they send these childlike individuals right now that while I'm making this video, I can hear these perps in the hallways try to counter this reality. That's the kind of mentality they have. Or they need to utilize a child like individual who's going to be like, no, that's not real, even though she knows that I'm going to listen to the testimony of a child being tortured. Now, I understand this is a child mentally behind. This is a child mentally not there. But you understand this is a child that's going to be groomed to normalize what we're going to listen to, what you're going to listen to. Matter of fact, this child most likely will participate in the torture of a woman or a child. But she's being groomed to normalize what this is about. And today, this child is trying to counter this obvious testimony of a woman literally saying what she is experiencing. Now, these people somehow think that I can let them escape. Because these people say, now pay, die. Some of these people, as I said, are parents. As young as the kids that they torture in this program. Now, like I said, they know the true threats to children. Matter of fact, it's so disturbing that now the level of validation I have is so surreal that not only this program does these horrible things to children and women and and for the purpose of the development of technology. Now, what I'm saying is, even though they harm us in different fashion, the reason why they harm us is not just to harm people. They don't torture women just to torture women. They don't torture children just to torture children. They don't even torture me just to torture me. Even if they enjoy it or not. They're doing it because they need test subjects, human beings, to develop this technology. That's why they torture even infants as young as 3 weeks old. That's why they torture children, even if it's sexual torture. When they do these things to this woman and her young child, it's not just for the fun of seeing her young child being tortured, but there's a purpose. Even if some of them enjoy that, whatever, it's not based on what they enjoy to do. It's because this is part of this program for the development of these weapons. That's why they torture everybody from babies to adults. That's the reality of things. But the embarrassing part on top of that this trash would use infants and babies and torture them in ways that's so evil. That the way we are tortured as adults, at the same time they torture children, it doesn't end to this level. This evilness is not just there. Apparently, these governmental entities that for sure have been working on this program for years, decades, even before I was born, have continuously had issues with pedophilia. Meaning that they've been having issue, and I'm going to bring it up because I know that these people want to escape from reality. I can't do that. That's my purpose. That's why I'm here. That this person here is talking about arsenic and being poisoned knows very much this program, what it does is that evil, that it will torture an infant, a child. But the entities running this program that came up with these tactics of EEG, heterodyning, cloning, and rewiring of the brain, those entities actually have shown a disgusting pattern that keeps coming up, to the point that in 2019 there was a bill called National Defense Network Abuse Act that is supposed to limit the amount of child porn that was being trafficked using the DoD network, using the DoD computer. They were sharing in 2018 so much child porn using those DoD computers and DoD network that this Child Protective Service ranked the DoD network as 19th out of 2,900 for trafficking some of the most child porn in the United States of America. So those same entities, and this is also the CIA, 2022, this BuzzFeed article comes up exposing that there's a lot of pedophilia ongoing in these CIA agencies, and nothing is happening to them. So this pattern keeps coming up, and not just a few people here and there. So much so that, like I said, in 2018, the DoD network was ranked 19th out of all the U.S. network, which consisted of 2,900, which make this entity the top tier in regard to the amount of child porn being trafficked. Now, I said that, which is the things that they hate me being said, me saying that, because it's a reality they want to escape from. You know what they say? Oh, it's going to be his asshole. And let me just say what they're saying. That not just to inform me that I'm going to be raped. No. It's not what they're trying to say. They're trying to stop me from saying that this disgusting trend that the DoD network was ranked 19th out of 2,900 in 2018 for the amount of child porn they were trafficking using the same network. And by the way they say that I'm going to be raped is because I'm going to be framed. And guess how? Pedophilia centric. Linking back to what? These issues that they're supposed to be out here protecting children from. They're supposed to protect kids. They're supposed to protect children. Matter of fact, what they like to say is, girls are little girls. Our babies are little girls. And by the way, when I say little girls, like I said, there's some rewiring happening to my brain, making me having some stimulations. Oh, by the way, and listen to the rewiring. What I did as a child, it was around that same age over there. Now, you just heard this weird pattern. Right? They have so much issue with child porn in these entities. And the child porn issue is not these employees at the DoD using their private computers to download child porn. No. This is much worse than that. It's the computers given to them by the Pentagon, by the DoD. That's where they're finding this child porn. So they are so free. They are so pedophilia centric that they don't even use. They don't even try to. They are using the computers given to them by these governmental entities, these DoD computers. Well, of course, the DoD computers. Imagine just downloading not even that. Imagine downloading regular porn on your work computer. Regular porn, just regular. Even that, it sounds crazy. Oh no, they're not even doing that. They're doing child porn. They are downloading child porn on the computers given to them by the DoD, the Pentagon. That is insanity. It's incredibly crazy. That means that they're so okay with that. It's crazy. Like, listen, regular porn. Everybody watch adult porn. At least most people. You would not even feel comfortable doing that, using the computer given to you by the government or by any employers. These people are downloading child porn, so much so, using the computers given to them by the DoD, the Pentagon. So much so, the Child Protective Service is saying this network from the DoD, they're seeing so much child porn that when we look at all the United States network, computer networks, the DoD network is so full of child porn that we will rank them 19th out of 2,900, making them a top tier for child porn. Now, this is crazy, because this is the same people. Today, when I say little girl, what they're saying is like, we are mapping your brain to you when you were a kid. I'm here right now in noise campaign because they try to box in this retardation. You're saying the people where there's so much child porn being trafficked, right? And I know they're waiting for me to say that. As I'm speaking right now, you hear that? Exactly. They try to box in these manipulations and this retardation. These the people with so much child porn that the Child Protective Services of the United States, like this is like a governmental agency, is saying, oh, the DoD network, they're having so much child porn that we call them top tier for child porn. In 2019, to try to respond to it, do you know what they did? They started saying things like they created a bill called the National Defense Network Abuse Act. As I'm saying that, they try to rewire my brain because they're saying they're going to also implement child porn just to show how much they care about children, which it should be an indication this is the people here angry and protecting children. Oh, our girls. No, this bill that passed in 2019 is because they were doing so much child porn that they're like, we got to do something. This looks bad. People cannot just use the computers given to them. They don't even try to use their private computers. They're using our computers to do so much child porn. Now we have a ranking for being top tier from child porn. Let's do something. At least let's make it look like we're doing something. They came with this bill and National Defense Network Abuse Act, which is supposed to limit the amount of child porn. And this bill, let me just say that, is specific to the computer given to them by the DoD. So they're going to start looking over, which is they're going to try to be more reinforcing the policy against child porn on the computers given to them by the DoD, specifically, not their private computers, not their private. They don't care what you do. Whatever you want to do at home, even though you work at the DoD. No, do whatever. But for the computers given to you by us, we're gonna start being a little bit more severe. We're gonna be a little bit more. We're gonna surveil a little bit better on the computers we give it to you, and to make sure that you stop doing so much child porn, because right now it's embarrassing. 19th out of 2,900. So you understand these entities have a clear pattern that these people are not out here protecting children. Matter of fact, the simple fact that they try to be badass, tell me, oh, I'm bad, we're gonna play child porn. With me, the most disgusting part is when they try to be like femme fatale feminist, right? Make it sound like if we're women doing that, and that's why they try to change up the facade a little bit. Because this is getting a little too burnt out. This is getting too disgusting. Because we're women, if we are the one implanting child porn, it's fierce. It's some fierce, daring thing. Because we're women. Even though we're coming from a governmental entities where there's so much child porn that is already nasty, but on top of that, coming from these entities, but we are some femme fatale. And child porn shows how badass we are. You're so disgusting trash. Now, I've already said that over here, and you can understand the level of disgustingness these people are, because you're going to hear that. And on top of that, you get humiliated by the fact that there's a lot of women being targeted, saying there's a lot of females involved in the program where they torture women. You're not even a woman. What kind of woman are you? So you can't even play this femme fatale feminist type of thing, because you already been embarrassed by other target individuals who are women who say, hey, there's a lot of female involved in this. What kind of woman are you to be involved in that? You're not even a woman that you can be involved in that, standing by this. When you know there's so much women suffering in this, you're delusional. You know what they try to do? No, we support them, trashers. We support them in heaven. You support them as they try to kill themselves or kill themselves? Or maybe after 20 years, they're going to be, maybe if they stay strong for 20 years or so, or 10 years, after sufferance of unimaginable sufferance, then maybe, perhaps, they'll be free. Listen, what I'm saying, and when I make these videos, target video, I'm not thinking that it's going to change anything that's happened to me, or anything that's going to happen to me. But for these people involved in this program, when the day comes, they gotta be ready. However it comes to them, because you want to hear how foul it is, and then to see people like them making themselves angry. And let me go back to what they're trying to make themselves angry toward. When I was this kid, around the same age over there, I did something to myself as a kid. I bring that up a million times, which they tried to vilify me, or not even, they tried to make me feel guilty of my dumbass act as a child in that age. You see that that's a kid, that's mentally, you think a kid at that age is really fully there? No. Some of these people have kids the same age, and they know the impulsiveness of a child that age can be something that they can do and never think twice about. But now they try to even exaggerate to the point where it's so disgusting. Already, me as a grown-ass man thinking about it is just like, oh God, what was I thinking? But them adding their extra. Today, I have problem washing myself in certain areas, because when that happens, they start rewiring my brain in this disgusting way of thinking, and then be like, oh no, but remember what you did as a kid, you used her hands. I was like, ugh. I'm like, I don't even want to wash myself, that area, to the point where it has done things to me. To the point that now I don't feel comfortable, but it has made me feel, let's just say, being unhygienic have caused certain situation that if I was comfortable to wash myself properly, this will not happen. But because I'm so uncomfortable, even using the restroom, let's just say I don't even, it's just a struggle, because the way they rewire my brain has been that bad. So, as I'm thinking about the video I made before this issue I'm having today, is experience. And I'm searching for something washing. I remember they maybe actually make me think of this, and they try to rewire in this way. They try to create this falsified reality of what I did as a child. As I mentioned, they say, oh no, you used her hand, you did this, you used her mouth, like so much nastiness, right? The truth is, this didn't happen like that. I did something to myself. It was me, myself as a child, doing something to myself as a child. Now, they try to exaggerate. Some of the things, the exaggeration are so extreme to the point where they talk about you use her mouth, you this and that, you molest her. It's so disgusting. The less extreme is when it becomes, okay, no, but you use her hand, that is getting to pushing it to another level. But now to minimize the level of how far they push it, no, but she just touched it. Ugh, it's disgusting. At one point, they wanted me to believe so much that I use her hand. And it's me at that age that they made me imagine, now you even wash your hands. I was like, oh, you're so disgusting. Because the truth is not even true. I did something to myself. Whatever I did, whoop, whoop, it then moved away. It got away, like nothing happened. Like I didn't do anything. Because at that age, as a child, you don't understand what you do. You're a kid. Look at this. To you at that age, this is meaningless. Now, as an adult, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking as a dumbass kid? But of course, I see it for what it is, a kid doing something stupid like that. Which is funny. Some of the things they say, oh my gosh, it's comical. Oh yeah, it excuses. Huh? What? It excuses. Can you imagine being involved in a program where they torture children in ways that are surreal? And you have somebody who's like, oh, that excuses you being a child and being mentally undeveloped, doing the dumb things that we even have to exaggerate, talking about washing. Now, matter of fact, even that they try to minimize it. Okay, you didn't wash it, but you wiped her hands. Ugh. To still try to create this storyline. No. I don't even think I wiped my own hand. They try to create that. Ugh. In my head, they try to make me imagine wiping her hands, using all kind of storylines. From washing to wiping is just manipulations. The truth is, I did none of that happen. I wiped my part, and that was it. Nothing. Now, my memories can be manipulated, and you're going to hear that. That they will manipulate memories in this fashion, too. To create an exaggeration of a child that age. And it's nasty. Because as an adult, even thinking about what I actually did, it's just like, I don't want to think about it like that. I don't want to think about it, period. I don't want to imagine this damn thing I did as a kid. Because I'm a grown-ass man thinking about it in a way an adult can think about things as an adult. And so I'm like, oh. But on top of that, they add the extra version where it's like I'm wiping. Oh, it's so disgusting. Now, you have these people involved in a program that torture children. The way they make themselves angry, it's like, oh, pay for it, they pay. I'm like, are you serious? So you involved in a program where you literally torture children, want me to pay as a child doing this thing that you even have to exaggerate, not making me imagine wiping, washing, or whatever the exaggeration you can create in my thoughts, the information you can add to create the exaggerated version, which is falsified. Let me just repeat that, it's falsified. I have no doubt, because it goes in all levels. If they whatever they can make, they literally made me imagine everything. They've made me imagine it, which is falsified. And target visual, be strong in knowing yourself, because they will change your memories like it's nothing, like it's nada. They will change it and really get angry on the falsified memories. They know it's falsified. Oh, they make themselves the most angry. I can't even believe how they can do that. It's like, oh my God, pay. Oh, you watch it. It's like trash. No, I didn't. But you know what I did as a kid, and then you try to exaggerate that. It's embarrassing. But look at the age of this kid. You think this person at that age over there is mentally there? You don't think a child like that can do something that stupid? Yes, they can, because they're mentally not developed. But you are grown-ass men and women involved in a program that you do these harmful things to kids. And you have children. And on top of what, the horribleness, you're part of this crime against humanity by involving yourself in a program that does this. Not because you're doing that just to me. Oh, no. The evil is beyond that. It's the fact that you're involved in a program that tortures children, and then you call it being at war. You're not at war. The only thing you're at war with is reality. You're in this. You're at war with the reality you want me to identify to, which is not going to happen. Look at you. You're here talking about wiping your hands just to try to exaggerate what I did as a child, while I'm listening to a child suffocating, or the testimonies of a child not being able to breathe because this DOD technology is being applied to her lungs. And you're making yourself mad like you're going to burn for that. Burn. I will jump in fire instead of living life where I'm actually countering the torture of children as young as 3 weeks old. Working for governmental entities that are so pedophilia-centric, and those same entities running this program. A threat to children. While you are here trying to make me imagine washing your hands to exaggerate what I did as a child that age. Today, this technology has been renowned to be manipulating the brain in these pedophilia ways. You know what they do? When they make me experience this nasty reaction, so no, we're mapping you to you as a kid. Look at this. Imagine these people at the bottom. Grown men and women. We're like, oh no, the way you're thinking today is we're mapping you to these kids above you. While we are, let's just say I'm a perp. I'm working for governmental entities that's so pedophilia-centric that there's a bill called End National Defense Abuse Act, because they're sharing so much child porn. You hear the nose campaign of these perps to try to counter reality? This is reality that they try to escape from. This is that embarrassing. That they know they work for governmental entities that do this, that have this problem. And they try to talk about this kid now. We're mapping. Look at this fucking. They're children. Imagine I make these grown men that you see there and say, we're making you think the way you thought like that. Now pay. Well, you're involved in a program where you know they torture children, and you know these governmental entities have problem pedophilia big time. That there's a bill in the books right now called End National Defense Network Abuse Act, because they're sharing so much child porn. So much child porn that the Child Protective Services is ranking these people, this DOD network, as the 19th largest amount of child porn being trafficked in the United States. When you comparing 2,891 network in the United States, they're number 19th, top tier. They literally say they are the top tier in child porn trafficking in the United States using DOD network. You hear these perps. So they sold to these pedophiles. Tell me how they feel bad. That's why I will never say I will trade places with people like them. Because when the day comes, because some of them, their day can come before me. This is the life they have to live. Be humiliated in every levels, and now be like, I feel bad. Because these governmental entities with these pedophilia issues have contracted them to do these things. I don't want them to feel bad. I will never want these perps to feel bad, but I just don't want them to escape. Because when we see each other, feel bad or not feel bad, I'll see you for the shit that you are. Talk about you use your hands. No, you wash it. No, you wipe. Nasty shit. It's not burn when you're involved in a program where you suffocate babies. Some kids, they even have mental handicap. You're going to hear the kid with Down syndrome, full-on Down syndrome child of 4 years old, sexually tortured. When we see each other, if they think I'm going to be like, oh no, you pay for what you did as a kid, and you're going to hear what they do to kids, and to see who's telling you, no, there is, we're mapping you. They are damn near, some of these next door neighbors are like children, and mentally, some of them, I think, I don't even want to call the R word, but they're close to that. The way they talk to you, no, there is. I'm like, you're a fucking clown. That's what they thank you guys. This is what these perps, my coworkers, thank these people. Because they know they have to dumb themselves down. Imagine being groomed in a world where this is really the norm, where you can excuse the torture of children or normalize that and be like, now you made it pain now, and having to exaggerate what a child that age did to the point where you're here coming up with stories. Okay, we're making him think like he wiped her hand, and he's gonna believe he used her hand. Jim, disgusting trash. Or maybe they say wash your hand. That's the kind of disgusting. This is part of this offensive warfare. It's called offensive information warfare, where they can make you think and manipulate you to think the negative ways, or exaggerate things and create stories that they can make you believe, not even believe, imagine that being experienced. They can implant information in your brain, and you think that this information feels like it's real information. It's falsified. They've done it so much to me that's why I make videos. You can see in my videos. That's why I make videos, because you can see the patterns. Today is, oh, you wash your hand. No, today you did this. Yesterday was you use your mouth. It's so nasty. And with time, your brain is just disappearing. So the story can get worse. But thank God we are validated by the testimonials. So this trash here, who gets so angry, now you're going to get lashed, you're going to burn alive, involved in a program where you're going to hear these mean things they do to children, how severe they are to even infants, as young as 3-week-old. We're going to start off with a family of 5 kids, all of them being tortured, all of them test subject, where even a 3-week-old baby is going to be tortured. Do I care if they feel bad? These perps involved in this? I don't care what they feel. Then I know that if I see them and they try to play this fantasy in front of me, God give me strength, because I'm going to think of the sufferings of these children they've tortured.
And have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss, and cancer. My children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. During her pregnancy with Dylan, we were being targeted more so than other times. At the delivery, there were weird men walking and waiting around the hospital. Right outside our delivery room window, there was a white cargo van parked with 2 suspicious men inside. They were there the entire labor, a delivery. Our son had to be transported to another hospital 45 minutes away. When arriving to the Toa hospital, those same men and van were present. 3 of my children have severe rashes that have not been explained by several doctors. These rashes have been present for several years at a time. If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner's syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner's syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured. Recently, I lost complete time. I exhibited the flashing lights. My 9-year-old son Dylan complained about the lights. You will often hear that vision is something that is greatly affected with this type of...
So you hear that? As I'm saying that, as I'm hearing this, this is a testimony that, thank God for the testimonials. They help you put things in perspective easily because they really want to gaslight you into another reality. You heard how horrible it is that a 3-week-old baby being tortured this way. They thought this kid was dying. You know what they were trying to do? They were making me think of this fucking stupidity of a child, excuse my language, of what I did as a child. Even what I did for real, as I actually did as a child, it's more like, yuck, what was I thinking? But then try to add to it, like, oh, but you wipe her, and make me imagine all of that. Right? And try to exaggerate for the purpose of trying to exaggerate what a child did, because this is the things they do. They're trying to counter the torture of a 3-week-old, but try to exaggerate what I did as a child, and like, oh, no, now you pay. You just heard how horrible they are in this program, that they will torture a 3-week-old baby. And people involved in that will be like, no, now you pay. And want me, somebody who can see things for what they are, block out the torture of a 3-freaking-year-old baby. Try to make me think of me as that age. Exaggerate what I did to myself as a kid. As you know, children at that age, as sad as it is, an impulsive child at that age can do that. Just because you don't understand as a kid at that age what you should and should not do, and you do things in this impulsive way as a child is capable of doing. Now these people are not here involving what you hear here. Try to be logical. They are literally involved in a program where infants are being tortured, and they want to enjoy what this program can do. And to cope with that reality, they start painting this fantasy of a reality, as if these people involved in a program that can do these things to a 3-week-old are here telling you how they're gonna make you pay for what you did as a child, while involved in a program where this is still happening today. They're still torturing children today. Today, there are still children being put in this program where, as young as 3 years old, you still hear people saying, me and my family, we're living in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we are all being targeted with this ELF or EMF technology. Still happening today. And they said this childlike people, which they tell me we feel bad. You feel bad, I don't care what you feel, but I care about how you want to delude yourself. And I refuse that. Feel happy, feel the happiest ever, but you're not going to feel like you're going to escape from this reality that you're involved in, because I know you're not the only one. I know there's a lot of people who wants to enjoy this, and I understand why, because you're going to hear how sophisticated this technology can be, what it can do to our body, to the organs, to the mind, to the brain. This is coming from the DOD, coming from the Defense Agency, the Defense Advanced Research Program Agency, DARPA. You know the type of technology these people are working on? This is things that you don't even believe is like, the science is so science fictional. I mean, the technology that these entities are working on, and you have the opportunity to involve yourself in a program that utilize technology coming from these entities, can dumb yourself down to that level where you hear these things that this program is doing to even children, to infants. You will still involve yourself in this program and make yourself so angry. It's like, oh, now you pay. To the point that because this technology has the ability to manipulate your thoughts and your memories, create a story that can make it worse, exaggerated, Make yourself angry with this exaggerated reality that you created. Block out the fact that you just heard a child being tortured. And not even a child, an infant. In this way, where they thought this kid died, or this kid was going to die. Some of the things that they're talking about, I have myself experiencing. Vision issues. Yes, they've done things. My vision, I expect at one point I'll be blind. The flashes at the end that you heard, they do that a few times. But like a quick flash in your eye. I don't like. It's just boom, like a flash, and you think that it rain outside. It's like, is that like lightning going on? They've done that. Rashes. I don't know if this rash is the same, but I have problem with my skin. In some places, my skin looks a little different. And I'm sure that my organs, I won't be surprised if I have some cyst or some kind of things happening to my organs. I would look like a tumor or something like that. I don't know about that. Because the truth is, I know that even the hospitals are compromised, and you're going to hear that. I want to take my time to ensure that before the day comes when I'm so handicapped, because they do that, they will make you a handicap. They can handicap you. Matter of fact, in this testimony, one thing I stopped because I wanted to focus specifically on the torture of the children is the father of these 5 kids was paralyzed for X amount of time, where he stayed in bed. He couldn't even use the restroom because he was paralyzed. This is a parent. Life is already hard enough as a parent. Now you're a parent that now is paralyzed. It's going to impact your children too. It's going to do things to your family. It's not going to be functioning okay. They do these horrible things to family. Now, what I'm saying is not going to change what's going to happen to me. I know that. My purpose now, the reason why I make this is because these perps want to do these things with this conscience of like they're some kind of femme fatale, fierce group of individual. Oh, we feel so bad. I'll pay what you did as a kid. Pooh. And they like literally come up. They make me think of this thing I did as a child at that age and be like, pooh. And I'm supposed to block out the fact that I just heard a 3-week-old baby being tortured by trash like them. They're going to make that mistake when they think about you and what you did as a kid. Yeah, think about the 3-week-old kid that almost died. It's more than poo, huh? It's maybe perhaps something need to happen, huh? Yeah. And some of these people gaslighting you and try to forget this are children. So you know they're being groomed to normalize this. So that means that they will easily be involved in a program, or not even in a program, they can be involved in the targeting of the child. And they think that because the children, you should block that out. No, you are being groomed to be okay to torture children. I know that means you've been worse than these adults. Because that means that you have a bright future in these horrible things. And you heard that people, the group, this is for sure. So you're even more dangerous than these grown-ass people because you have a long life ahead of you. And that could be a long life of doing these things to even children. So for me, is to continuously never let them forget what they're involved in. Because they have people try gaslighting you and creating their fantasy of what this is about. For me, they know they can never gaslight me. I'm looking like, look at me. Don't look like you can gaslight me. I'm hearing that every day. But I think for themselves, they want to do that to feel okay. They don't want to live life feeling that compromise in life. I don't care how you make yourself. I don't care if you're sad. I don't care if you're happy. One thing is for sure. This program that you're in, you're not going to make yourself believe in something else, because somebody who's involved in this torturing children will never make me pay for what I did as a child, because you are here involved in a program that tortured children. And I don't care how many targeting you've involved yourself with as kids. The only reason you're able to do that to me is because you're involved in a program that does this. Listen to what they do to these children. This is another testimony. This is Mariana. Not too long ago, 2018, she comes up with this testimonial saying what she experiences when she teaches these children. Do you imagine this trash involving this? Looking at me at this age, it's like, now you pay. Involving what you're going to hear today. Listen to this.
Language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain. I asked him what was wrong and if he needed to use the restroom, but he said no to having to use the restroom and was not able to verbalize anything more due to his language delay.
So, unfortunately, hopefully, my microphone was able to capture the noise campaign these people were doing. Let me just see. I'm opening the door and see if they can make the noise campaign. You heard the horrible things. You heard a 7-year-old being sexually tortured. 7-year-old with autism, with autistic issues. Not only she was sexually tortured, but they also tortured her by suffocating her. 7 years old. There was somebody, a grown-ass woman, involved in a program that does this thing to children, that was making so much noise campaign. And she thought that she couldn't be yelling and be like, nah, you pay. While you just heard what just happened. Or what was happening to this child. They really want to gaslight you into blocking out these horrible things they're part of and what they do to children. I truly wish that the noise campaign could be heard. That you could be involved in something that does these horrible, mean things to even babies. Even if you yourself haven't had your hand dirty doing that. You're involved in this. You are rewiring yourself, twisting yourself to think in this retardation way that I should pay as a child looking at that. While you're involved in a program that tortured children in the way you hurt. Of course, I know the reality of things. I know what this is about. I think the person that makes the noise campaign say, now you pay, now make all the kind of noise campaigns, now creating some kind of theatrical ways of like acting around to try to make me forget the reality of what they do to children. And by the way, they're still trying to play this thing I did as a child by creating the extra, right? Wiping her hand, washing her hand, just because they want me to imagine me washing or using her hand. Because the truth is, there was this article that came up. Talk about how kids should be recognized as kids when they do these things. The impulsiveness of a child around that same age in middle school, something like that. They are not fully developed. So they can have this impulsive acts that will never happen ever again. Basically saying the things like you should never compare a child's brain with an adult brain, which is literally what they do. But then, and by the way, what it says is because this portion where it's like what is considered sexual abuse is if there was like sexual interaction or physical contact. And this is why they're so like, oh no, she touched, I think she did. And then try to make, no, but my fact is she touched because you watched her. And then they try to create this more stories. To create this storyline. You see how pathetic it is when they try to counter these things you just heard? On how they torture children sexually? You're going to hear this is part of this offensive warfare or offensive information warfare where they want you to accept the storylines. They come up with imagination and storylines and memories can falsify things like that to try to create a story. And thankfully for me, every step of the time to create a false memory, I make videos of it, not even just for people to just watch that, but for myself. It's like, listen, you remember that was the story X amount of month ago. This is the new story this time. Now it's going... Every time changing it to create a story, to build some false memory, to exaggerate a child act, while trying to counter the torture of children. To hear a grown-ass woman try to block out the fact they tortured babies. To torture children in sexual ways that are only 4-year-old. 4-year-old sexually tortured. Not only she's 4 years old, this kid, and her older sister was only 5 years old. They both have Down syndrome. Can you imagine you live life trying to counter that? And you're like, nah, you pay. Involved in a torture that do these things to children? It doesn't end there. You know how official things are? In that bioethics that I was talking about in 2011, where a bunch of target individuals came up and say what's happening to them, a mother literally saying, I'm being tortured, but not only me and my young child, whoever this child is. I'm sure it's about the same age as this woman Mariana was talking about. Being tortured. To the point where the damage is psychological and physical. Not only mentally being broken down like a young child, but physically too. You know how bad it was? They try to they have this ability to project reality onto you. So what I did as a child, I know that the impact was not traumatizing. It's something that I did inappropriate as a child. That age. But I know I didn't traumatize anybody. To the point where I made sure to make sure that this low life don't go into the escapism of the fantasy they've put together. No. Let me go talk to this person that you say I traumatized. He doesn't have no recollection of me. Life is life. Matter of fact, they almost made me they made me imagine her being a lesbian. They have no shame. But this woman and her young child, not only the damage is physical, but psychological. This is reality and what they try to counter. Listen to this testimony.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
Thanks. My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us a dramatic response, Susan. And please give us a congressional hearing. Thank you.
Okay. This is Catherine Nestor and her young child. Well, she's speaking for a young child. And she's making sure that that's it's known that what she's going through is not only happening to her, but also to her kid, who I'm guessing is very young. And so, for me, it's just this. The evilness that we go through is not unique to me. I need to know that. I need to remember that. They are torturing young children in this program and still have the ability to block that out. Now, these perps, like I said, they're just participants. They're not running this program. But they're smart enough to understand that I'm involved in this program that torture children. But with me, what they've been trying to create the storyline is like, no, we're different. It's our money. We're different kind of people. This is anything but what you just heard. We're different in that sense. This saying, they do things so systematically. The tactics are always the same. In this program, apparently, and the reason why I say apparently is because I'm hearing that testimony from somebody else. This person is somebody who has interviewed a lot of target individuals, thousands or so, around the country, and I believe maybe the world, but the country at least. And he started surveying people in the sense of like, okay, what you're experiencing, what this is happening, what's it, and he noticed something. He's like, this tactic, this program, what they try to do is to make you think that somehow this is not this massive government doing that to you, but they have different storylines of what they want you to think that it is. They truly want you to believe that this is anything. Forget about this technology that can do so much things. Forget about the fact that you hear honkings and noise campaign from all around your area. You just heard that, right? They just try to show off. To think that, no, this is a group of feminists is our money. Can you imagine thinking, can you imagine try to make somebody believe that what we're doing is making you pay for this age? I'm in New York City. I reassure you, they know that the threat to children or a threat to their children is not going to be, is not somebody in 8th grade that is now in his 30s. They're not that stupid. And you got to know that they know there's real threats in this world, especially when you're around here. Some of them actually have children, so they know this is a freaking kid. The kid can do this damn thing. They deal with people here who are truly threat to children. Not make-believe threats, not manipulated, real. So for me to think that, oh no, they're making me pay for it. The horrible stories of what you can find here is just crazy. So of course I know that they know better. They're going to act accordingly. Matter of fact, sometimes some of these people, they get out of character and start laughing. It's so disgusting. Because they're laughing at something else. Because one of the things they do is like when they manipulate you, which we're going to get to that. When they make you experience, when they rewire your brain, you know what they say? Oh no, we were rewiring your brain to you as a child, so the same age as this person above. I'm about the same age of these people at the bottom. Imagine you're a grown man, grown woman, and we're like, no, well, we're mapping your brain to you as a child. Now you pay. First of all, you're like, what? You think I'm this illogical? 2, at this point, you already figured out that they torture children and they know where you're at. Like, you think that you can target individuals, they really have no shame in how they can act. I think in certain circumstances, for me, I think that's why they like to use children, because children can live in a fantasy world. They can make believe easily. I think that's why it helps to have children in this case. I think children in this case partaking in this program helps, because a child can delude themselves. They can make pretending they can really live a fantasy of a reality. They're not even in touch with reality. So I think it makes sense that at that point they can use children, because they can create this fantasy where, no, we're protecting, it's no, you pay, we're banking, right? While here in New York, with all kind of dangers. And on top of that, forget about even New York. What I'm part of literally tortured children in ways that are so disturbing, evil. A 3-week-old baby, they thought this baby was gonna die, and it's still happening today. Now look how magical it is and how humiliating it is to be these people, because they enjoy this involving themselves in this program is enjoyable in the sense that they have this ability to do all these things to me. I can imagine just like what they see me go through. I can like I'm thankful that I don't even have the option to do what they do. Right now, in my circumstances, I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds so disturbing. I will have to dumb myself down to this point. I'm listening to people torturing children, that I'm part of this program that does these things to children, but somehow I'm supposed to be like, no, now you pay. Even making my voice sound a certain way. Pay. Now you pay. Like, oh my gosh, I could never. Like, how humiliating. I'm somebody who get embarrassed about saying something the wrong way 10 years ago. Now imagine today as a grown-ass man, I'm talking like, no, you pay. They'll watch, you pay. You pay, now suffer. I'm like, what? I'm in a program that tortured children. And talk about this man when he was like a kid in middle school doing this damn thing. While I'm in a program that does these things to kids. It's crazy. But that's the game. That's how they're supposed to confuse the target individual, because there's this tactic of confusing and disorienting the target individual, which here it is. This is not unique to me.
We're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all the stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis, that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
It's funny, as I was listening to this testimonial in recording, that is this next door neighbor who sounded like a child. I don't know if she's 14 years old, but I don't think she's too much older than that kid that this person thought was part of like the reason why it's happening to him. They do things so systematically that it's surreal. Because I'm around people who's like, no, we're the one doing it, we're killing you. It's like, yes, you're killing me because you're involved in a program that's killing kids. Well, truly, you're not killing me. Maybe you're participating in my killing, but the reason why I'm dying is because I'm a target individual and I'm a test subject for this massive government using human subjects as test subject, and you're just a participant in that. But you're nothing. And I know who's running this program. But they have the same tactic of trying to disorient you. And they say things out of nowhere, just confuse you, to disorient you. Very basic gaslighting, just change in subject. Oh, you're dying. I was like, okay, you tell me that because it makes too much sense right now. I'm making too much sense in the regard of this man said this one target individual thought it was the next door 14-year-old kid. Which awkwardly is a lot of what's happening here. This like childlike individual. I don't know if some of as young as 14. The picture of these kids I have, that I'm supposed to be like thinking that, oh, this is me, because they can make you experience emotions and stimulations that are not natural. The point of me making this, I was about to make a video about them, embarrass them, or at least at first it was like, oh, I'm going to use that as like a reference of how manipulated I am. Then I started making videos about the people of all the things they do to me. Today, I'm thinking, should I make a video about these kids and show how sad it is? Because I have made videos of different teenagers. These people are so pathetic. These kids are so pathetic that I've made videos showing other kids, teenager. But these are so sad that I myself felt so bad to humiliate these kids in this level. I've humiliated other kids, a little bit older, or at least they look a little bit older. But these kids are just so sad. I couldn't make myself do that. Even though they tell me that I'm going to be framed by these kids or kids like that. I feel so bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so sad. I feel bad. Even if they don't feel bad for their kids, I feel bad for them. Look at them. Look how pathetic it is. But these governmental entities obviously are tied up with the DOD. Because this technology is extremely sophisticated, and one entity that's been working on very sophisticated technology that can alter the mind, because you're going to hear the obviousness that this technology can manipulate your thought process. This technology can manipulate your thought process. They can make you think in ways that's incredible, but to make me think, no, what we're doing, we're mapping, we're not altering your brain. When I was looking for something washing, the reason why I was looking for that is because, like I said, my hygiene has been compromised. I've been unable to wash myself the way I would wash myself, because what's happening when I try to wash myself? When I try to wash myself, they have this way to rewire my thought process that is so disturbing that I don't feel comfortable washing myself in this fashion, which I need to maintain my hygiene, especially me for certain reason. I need to dedicate my time washing myself properly. But when I wash myself, I try to rush it so fast because I know that they're going to make me have these disturbing thoughts. I made a video about it. And I was looking for a video that showed that, you see what I was saying? This is why I'm having this issue right now. At least that perhaps is a reason, or something I could have caught earlier on. But because I was so scared to even look at myself there, I won't even know this. Or at least I will know that the reason this is happening to me is not because I wasn't washing myself properly. Now I don't know if what I'm experiencing is because maybe I should spend more time cleaning myself properly. But the reason why I couldn't do that is because they have this ability to rewire your thought process. And when I do that, they're like, oh no, remember, use your hands. They try to make me think of me as a kid at that age, when I'm an adult, at the age of these people below. I said, no, we mapped it. No, we're reminding you. What? I'm a grown man. You think I'll be like, oh, remember this dumb thing I did when I was in middle school? No, I focus on what I'm doing, clean myself. But I can't do that because somehow you're going to make me have imagination of children while I'm washing myself this way. Then they go into their fantasy with these disgusting things. Instead of me be able to focus on what I'm doing without having to think about kids in my head while I'm doing these things. Then be like, no, we are mapping you to you as a kid, at the same age as the kid that you see there, when I'm the age of those people below. But since the 60s, there's been this technology that they've been working on at DARPA. DARPA at the time was called ARPA, right? It was DARPA stands for Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. In the 60s, it was not DARPA, it was ARPA, which was Advanced Research Program Agency. The D is because it's part of the Defense, Department of Defense. Now, listen to this.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day. Mind can be altered. In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior.
So it's clear that it's been, for a while, they've been working on technology on how they can alter the mind. Now, obviously, there's more than just my mind being altered, my body's being destroyed, but this is easier to kind of see or imagine because with this directed energy, which is also a Department of Defense technology. But you understand, this is where this technology, these weapons can be coming from. This governmental entity, DARPA, is there was like an article where they call it the brain of the Pentagon, because the technology and the sophistication and the advancement of how far they are with technology, at least utilized as a weapon for us, is surreal. I mean, right now, literally, in the commercial world, in the mainstream world, you can start looking at how they've been working on memory manipulations, memory. I mean, there's somebody in DARPA that was having a speech say, "Oh, we figured out how to this ability to not only read memories but even write memories. Literally writing memories, meaning creating memories." He said that. And you understand, if he says that, you know how far ahead they are? This is a very secretive agency. Now, you can imagine people, these perps, being involved in entities that are so advanced. That's why they are willing to dumb themselves down. You imagine having the opportunity or the options to be involved in a program where this level of technology is utilized. That's why all of a sudden they become so dumbed down. Oh, it's like, oh, now girls, little girls who pretending are children. Now listen, like I said, everything they do is done systematically. Now listen to this technology that can cognitively manipulate a human being. This bioethic that was in 2011 brought a lot of target individuals all around the country. One of them was not actually a target individual, but somebody who dealt with a lot of target individuals, who's a doctor. Yeah, I think it's an anesthesia kind of doctor, right? And so he talks about, I've been talking to thousands of target individuals all around the country, and they're all saying the same thing, and they talk about the same technology be applied to them for this purpose. Listen to this.
My name is Dr. John Hall. I'm a medical doctor from Texas. As I understand the memorandum from the president, it's for you to determine if current legislation is adequate in protecting individuals and if there's any ongoing experimentation. In reviewing the common rule, it's very obvious that there's a lot of loopholes to informed consent. All of the horrific experiments you've mentioned, Willowbrook, MK Ultra, radiation experiments, mostly were done without informed consent. They were funded by the DoD and intelligence agencies, where I'm not even so sure you would know if there's an IRB, much less if an IRB is looking at informed consent. As a physician, relative to some of what you're hearing today, in the community, we are seeing an alarming rate of complaints of use of electromagnetic weapons, microwave auditory effects, silent sound spectrum, EEG cloning, which has taken the lab out of the laboratory and into the home. Most of these, from the research that we reviewed, can be done remotely. It seems to be more weapons research than medical research. I personally corresponded with upwards of 1,500 victims, all complaining of identical complaints from every state in the nation of being exposed to electromagnetic radiation, non-ionizing radiation for the use of cognitive control or behavior control. I submitted a paper to you, and there's another paper submitted to each member from another physician in Kansas City, alluding to the same thing.
Thank you.
You heard this man saying, literally, this seems to be for cognitive behavior manipulation and control. And the testimonies all around the country sound all the same. Listen, it is insane to be so validated. Listen to him. So when they say our girls, our little girls, the reason why they say that is because today what's happening to me is I'm being manipulated to have these reactions to little kids. Actually, all kids, from the babies to the older kids. But when it comes to little kids, right, the little girls, they're like, no, we mapped it. Remember what you did as a kid? We mapped it. That's how you. And make me think that what we're doing with you right now is we're making your brain be the brain of what you used to experience when you were a child that age. Like, no, first of all, that sounds as illogical as it sounds like. Why would you make an adult man start thinking like a child that's developing in middle school and think that makes sense? Of course it doesn't make sense. Second of all, even when I was a child, I wasn't experiencing that. Now, I know what you're trying to say, that for me to have done what I did to myself as a kid, this is the way I experienced. No, falsify. The reason why I did what I did as a child is because as a kid, the impulsiveness of a child, I just did this dumb thing after discovering myself in regard of how to do certain things to myself. That's why it never happened again. But to understand these people, to try to make you think in these ways, to try to make you think that I should be acceptive of this because we're making you a child again. Matter of fact, I remember somebody said, no, you see when you're 14, like, I'm a grown, like, what? Can you imagine a child in middle school and be like, no, you see, some of these people have children around the same age. Like, can you imagine? Like, imagine I'm looking at you like we're being you're just making you as a child. But it's part of these manipulations. Listen to what I said before knowing about being a target individual. I didn't know I was a target individual. I didn't know what target individual was. I had no idea what the F it was. I had no freaking idea. I didn't know that something like that was being done to others. I thought it was me. Listen to them making me say something. I thought it was only me. I thought it was only me. Matter of fact, as I speak right now, you see they try to change what I'm trying to say. I thought it was only me, or I didn't know there were so many of us going through the same thing. And so for me, I thought, okay, listen, if this is happening, I need to warn people that this is something that's happening in the world, and there's people doing these things to us and this and that. Listen to what I say. And I'm going to fast forward because this is a letter that's a little bit longer, but let me show you, listen to what I said and depicting what was happening. Listen.
19, something unimaginable happened to me. Before I go on about what happened on that day, I want to say that I'm aware of how crazy and far-fetched this will sound like. On that day, I started hearing voices in my head like somebody put a bug in my brain and was able to communicate through my brain. I was not scared to hear the voice, but it felt surreal. First, they asked a few random questions about my sexuality or if I was a psychopath. Then they told me I was going to be deported. Activity as a 14-year-old middle schooler that I have forgotten. In the evening, the conversation became more sinister. Whoever I was interacting with in my brain let me know that I will suffer for the rest of my life for what I have done, and the best thing I should do is to kill myself. At that point, I believed I was going crazy, but when I doubted my sanity, loud poundings on my wall, coming from the neighboring apartment, would confirm and signify that whatever was said in my brain was in fact real, and not the figment of my imagination. Since that day, my mind has not been the same. Feels as my brain is being manipulated, and I'm having issues processing and controlling my brain. Reaction, and it feels like I have no control of my brain. I'm unable to think like I used to, and I feel like my brain has been submerged with horrible images. I'm unable to articulate everything that is going on in my brain, but I know everybody around me is aware of what's been done to me and are participating in it. I know what I'm saying is quite unbelievable, but know my story needs to be told, or I should at least attempt to tell it. To be clear, I'm saying my brain was hacked, meaning whoever did it is able to read my mind, manipulate my brain, and let other access it.
So the letter continues on, right? And I'm saying, I'd rather die, but at least not even rather die. Before I die, I would rather share my stories, because this is crazy that people would do these things, and that was before me knowing about what was happening. And you hear that they were already trying to be like, no, you pay for what you did as a kid, you're gonna pay for it. These people saying that to me were people doing these things to children. These people talking about me in middle school were people torturing children, or at least involved in a program that does these horrible things that you heard about children. That's why I was like, what? You talk about me as a middle schooler? And I completely, because the impulsiveness of me as a child in middle school, some kid who just turned 14 years old, the second I did whatever I did, I completely not thought about it ever again. Showing how impulsive a child can be. Now, find out now that these people talking about how I'm going to pay for what I did as a child was people torturing children, at least involved in a program where torturing children is happening. And finding out the truth is I'm just a test subject, like Catherine Nestor and her young child, where they're using me as a test subject to develop this technology. That's why they're like, no, you pay for it. They always try to find ways to vilify you. And people literally torturing kids or using kids as test subjects will be saying this thing to you. It was part of this gimmick and theatrics they were supposed to create. But something I want to. The reason why I played this portion is because I said something. I said on August 19, 2019. Ever since that day, I've not been thinking like myself. I feel like my brain is no longer controllable by me. I feel like my brain reactions are being controlled and manipulated. And at the end, I say that not only I think that people are reading my mind, but they're actually manipulating my mind, making me experience things that I would not experience organically. That I'm being manipulated. My brain is hacked. I'd never heard about anything about target vigil prior to that day of me making writing this letter. Now today, I figured out what the hell is going on. What I am is a target individual. I'm a test subject, like this man, John Hall was saying, Dr. John Hall. This is developing of a weapon. They're using us as guinea pigs, and they're rewiring our brain in ways that are so crazy. Listen to what he says about what's happening to the brain. This is after the fact. I never heard this before I wrote this letter. Listen to how crazy it is. To based on what I said before knowing about being a target individual, to not knowing about being a target individual. Listen to this.
The human nervous system, in order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG, and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions, for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
You heard the last part. Desire, emotional reaction, or physical reaction, and you heard at some point they talk about, thoughts can be implanted from one. This is literally what I said in my letter. That I have no longer control of my brain reaction. And I was saying that not only my brain is being read, but it's being manipulated. Now, obviously, you should never, like, these people are going to make you believe that you're a genius. The truth is, you're just describing what you're experiencing, and because this is what others are experiencing, you're not unique to that, and this is something that is commonly being used on others. You have people really they can gaslight you. These people here can gaslight you to the point of this level of are these people am I just a genius? Or is it not just that obvious that obviously you are manipulating the brain to make me experience these things? So when I say little girls, this is they make me have these reactions, this thought process, this manipulation. Matter of fact, it doesn't even end this way. This guy, Dr. Robin Dawkins, is saying these things with not EEG, but when they manipulate pipe in those voices. You heard the initial portion when I was like, on August 19, 2019, I heard somebody as if they were talking to me via, as if I had a bug in my brain and I could hear them talk to me. Listen to how surreal and obvious what's happening to me.
Brains. And so this gets into what's called there are four different techniques and technologies that can pipe voices into an individual's head. And once you can do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And processes in brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive rewiring their thought processes in brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they used it, I believe, in the Gulf War to tell the enemy at that time, lay down your guns, this is Allah. And it worked pretty well, because hearing voices which have no direction or sound, you have to assume that it's some spiritual entity. So it works pretty well. And then, I don't know if I'm going to get into this, but there's something called hyper game theory. How do you, they want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program even. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define their probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control a brain? Most people don't believe that.
So you have this level of validation, right? That they have this ability to rewire your thought process, your brain, and this is like offensive information warfare. So the tactics are going to be offensive. They're going to be disturbing, disorienting, disgusting. And they have these trickeries and deception they're supposed to make you accept these things. So they're like, no, we mapped it to you as a kid. This you mapped it. We are our girls. As they rewind your brain in these disgusting ways. Because what you're experiencing is only experienced because your brain is being manipulated one way or another. Some of the conversations are, no, but this is mapped it. We mapped it to you as a kid. You felt like that when you're a kid. Like, first of all, I'm not a child. Even that is stupid. And why would you rewire a brain of an adult to have a brain of a child? And two, that's not even true. But at every level, this sounds illogical. But it's part of the deceptive trickeries that they apply onto you to make you accept these things. And that inclusive of all kind of manipulation, change of that's what the stories of why there's a child is being manipulated, because you're going to hear that this is not unique to me when the memories are being changed. They've changed so much of my memories. It seems like they're coming up, okay, what can we do? What else can we do? Okay, do this. Let's just say this happened. Oh, this it's like I can feel like I'm such a test subject. That it's like they come up with new tactics of being deceptive. Like I feel like they come up, okay, oh, what if we try this? And they do this thing. That's what it feels like. That's why I make videos. The manipulations and the storylines they try to put together, everything is to try to break you down into accepting this personality manipulation, which you're going to hear. That's what they do. But before I do this, I want to get back to why they do things in certain ways and how systematic these people do things. Now, these ways of forcing you to have sexual stimulation toward children is things they've done to others. And right now they try to rewire things in different ways, as always. Because listen to the tactics they've done to others. They are forcing me to have sexual stimulations towards especially little kids, but all kids, from the babies to the older kids. But if they can do that to the babies, they can do that to older kids, because some of these older kids look closer to adults. Matter of fact, as I'm saying that, they try to bring up, no, but remember this person is whatever. They're just trying to flip things around and make me accept this manipulation and this false personality that you want me to identify with. But listen to the obvious things that what they do. I'm going to bring back to back obvious patterns of how they torture people psychologically. Listen to this.
Breakdown tactic of belief systems into human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds, and vice versa.
Odorants. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes.
Somebody trying to end my life. If somebody trying to end who I am as a person, if somebody trying to take over my mind, and this disgust mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia, this disgusting things. And you saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. In my surroundings or whatever they're doing.
Ben said the slaves began a program of perversion. First was with my dog. I am very playful with my pet, and suddenly one day that I was petting him I felt strange, in the sense of the word. I thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing. And then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ass. So just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use of people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals.
So it's clear that they have a consistent tactic that is degrading, and you hear that often. I found that out how common it was when I unfortunately, and I didn't know that it would be beneficial for me to. I should have saved this petition. When I discovered being a target individual, I finally discovered some petitions, and some of the petitions consisted of describing the symptoms they were going through. Some of the symptoms, some guy or whoever created this petition, which it was signed by a bunch of target individuals, said something about remote pedophilia. I was like, this is that systematically done. So they're like, no, our girls, our little girls, our children, our baby. We mapped it. This is coming from people who commonly use these manipulations that are pedophilia centric. Literally, you heard that woman say they do the pedophilia type of torture, as they can rewire your brain to experience whatever. They can make you experience smells that they're not around you. Sometimes I'm not sure if the smell I smell is a smell that is because they're making me experience that, or is actually that smell. I don't even trust my senses, because I know they can manipulate my sense of smell. I'm not sure when what I'm smelling is what I'm actually smelling, or is what they manipulate me to experience. Because they even said your sense of smell. I remember going through this trash in the grocery store, says something about the sense of smell. And I was like, okay, that means they're going to do these things. Just like they tell me they're going to do this thing with my teeth. Just like they say they're going to blind me. I believe these things. In my brain, they try to create these battles from this trash. But I will never identify with these manipulations. And I know who I am. But the manipulations are very pedophilia-centric, as you just heard. And the battles and the thought process are all manipulated non-stop. Matter of fact, as I'm saying that right now, they're trying to create a mental battle in my brain, where they're making me think of that person in the grocery store, which some trash, young adult looking and disgusting human being, tell me how they're going to manipulate me in these ways where they're going to make me lose my sense of smell or create a sense of smell that I don't mind. Like, make me smell something that's not even around. And try to create a battle. Like, how was she? And they do this all the time. And try to create some perception that I didn't experience at the time. I was more of looked at her for the trash that she was. And now it's just turning into something that's stimulating. Creating a sensation that was not experienced at the time. They do that all the time. But they aim it toward children. And sometimes they do that toward adults. And I realize that this is fake, even if she's an adult. Sometimes they do that to somebody just because they look young, even though they're an adult. Sometimes they do that to my coworkers who are young adults in their 20s, and now I'm being forced to get these stimulations. And that's that. But you gotta be strong. You gotta be able to see things for what they are. But it's so disturbing when they do this nasty stimulation toward these babies. Babies. Even babies. It's so disgusting. I gotta bring that up. The thought process is so manipulated in this disgustingly perverted way, which you're gonna hear. I'm getting this thing because of this hygienic issue that I'm having due to the lack of me paying attention to that. I decided to get a cream. And this cream is advertised to be utilized onto also people for their kids, for their babies. And one of the picture is a picture of a mother applying that to the bottom of a baby. The way they have made me perceive this baby's butt, it is so disgusting. And the way they're manipulating and connecting things in this disgusting, perverted way toward this baby's butt is the things I deal with 24/7. It's disgusting. Your brain is rewired in these ways. Listen to this woman. So voice to skull is what most target individuals call it when they have these thought manipulations. And you heard the men earlier talk about how with voice to skull, not only you hear people interacting with you via voice to skull, via this technology, but also your thought process is manipulated, and it's disgusting. Listen to this.
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just.
So yeah, it's a lot of disturbing, disgusting, perverted. And when I mean perverted, listen, there's extremes, right? I'm not a saint. I've thought of women in sexual way, but when you're being manipulated to be forced in certain ways, because this is also applied to babies. And then they want you to accept these things. And you have perps around you. Right? Like this woman earlier said, there's people who are surrounding you and you don't know if how they're doing that, but they're around you. When they manipulate your thought to go this way, they have perps around you that are supposed to gaslight you into accepting these manipulations. Because when this manipulation happens, that they control you to experience, they manipulate you to experience. They're like, no, then you're going to be tortured, you're going to be fried, and this and that. To try to make you identify with this manipulation. I will never let them live their fantasy. Because you have people like that. Smarter than you sometimes. I'm not much more of a genius than them. Who's supposed to counter this reality? With this level of validation. But this doesn't end this well. It doesn't end this to this point. There is something else that is more disturbing. The reality that although these tactics are used to break us down, this is used we're just used as weapon development guinea pigs, and this weapon can destroy your body and manipulate your thoughts. The entities running this program, which has been shown to be clearly deriving from the DoD or even the intelligence community, have had so much issue with the same things they try to project you to experience of course, for this purpose is to break you down. But in regard of reality, those entities who are coming up with these tactics, who are developing this technology, who are designing, creating this technology, those happen to have this real issue that we target individuals are manipulated to experience for the degrading the experience. Listen to the reality of who these bottom feeders, these people that you see here, why they are able to do what they do to us, and the reality of the entities coming up with this technology where they feel so special for these people to be participating in that, because the sophistication of this technology is amazing. Now listen to what the issues these entities who quote unquote are supposed to be mapping you, while this is the reality of the entities quote unquote mapping you or designing with technology that map you. This technology they're coming up with is not technology to map you, it's technology to manipulate you. They are mapping your neural network so they can manipulate you to make you experience the design experience that they want you to experience. And this design experience tend to be very pedophilia-centric. While the reality of this technology coming from a place where they have issues of that nature, where I keep bringing up this and National Defense Network Advance, and National Defense Network Abuse Act is happening. Listen to this.
Investigation for links to the proliferation of graphic material called Project Flickr. Some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swan. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device PED policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security sweeps. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in, but we're also not doing enough in the Department of Defense to go after those individuals who are being recognized as the ones who are perpetrating this.
Gauntlet of daily scrutiny just going in and out of work. Is it fair then to the tens of thousands who are completely innocent to further allow that much more government intrusion into their digital devices or the things that they're dealing with on their computers?
Well, remember that what's being talked about here is not an intrusion into someone's personal device or even their home. This is about saying Department of Defense computers are being misused to share, to spread, to access child pornography. And when you step into an office, whether it's
According to child pornography watchdog Internet Crimes Against Children Child Online Protective Services, the Defense Department network consistently ranks in the top tier of internet service providers for trafficking child pornography. It ranked 19th of nearly 3,000 networks surveyed in 2018.
Potentially making this a matter of national security. Chief Fox Report correspondent Jonathan Hunt with the news. Appalling story, Jonathan. Do we know more about these people and their security clearances?
Well, we don't know their exact job titles, John, but what we do know is that they did appear to be working, some of them, at high levels across a range of government agencies. Take a look at this, for instance. The
Defense Department releasing brand new details into an investigation involving child pornography and dozens of its workers and contractors, some with top-level security clearance. Not only are these very serious accusations, but investigators say some of the people involved were handling the nation's most sensitive secrets, potentially making this a matter of national security. Chief Fox Report correspondent Jonathan Hunt with the news. Appalling story, Jonathan. Do we know more about these people and their security clearances?
Well, we don't know their exact job titles, John, but what we do know is that they did appear to be working, some of them, at high levels across a range of government agencies. Take a look at this, for instance, the National Security Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the very secretive Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind?
So, I mean, can you imagine the level of like humiliating reality? Now, it's obvious, you heard DARPA specifically being called out for one of these, like, they called this project manager at DARPA having child porn on his work computer, as always. The same nastiness that shows a clear pattern. This is not things I came up with. This is the reality of things. Now, can you imagine these governmental entities are the governmental entities working on this technology? It's clear that they're the one coming up with these tactics, this funding, this ability to do these things is coming from this, and there is no other entities like the DoD that is able to have this level of funding, because wherever you're gonna go, it's gonna follow you. It's global, and I've said it in a TI Day video. This is happening to us all around the world. This is not just domestic, but it's also international. This is not unique to the United States. This targeted individual from the United States becoming refugees, leaving the country of the United States, thinking that if they leave this country, it's going to be better maybe in Australia or New Zealand. And he follows them there. And that's not because this is some fierce, as I said earlier, how they try to make you believe this is this femme fatale, like this. It's just the PSYOPs to try to block the reality that obviously this is a massive government doing that to us. And there's a purpose bigger than this bullshit storyline where they're like, no, pay for what you did. You heard the horribleness of what they're part of. And the entities running this program are actually the threat to children. Oh, by the way, I focus on what they do to children. Now brace yourself of how horrible they are to women. Because the women are speaking much better than men. Now, I don't know if there's more women being targeted than men, but it's for sure more women speaking up than men. And obviously, I understand that this can not only happen to men, this can not only happen to women. This has to be all gender, all ages, all races, for the purpose of perfecting this technology. I understand the reality. This PSYOPs, this dumbness that they have to make themselves become, for me to identify with this manipulation is illogical. It's funny, they were trying to make me feel like some kind of way. Like I said in the earlier portion of this video, I purposely start talking to this person that they say, oh no, you traumatize her. Because I know that she doesn't recall me, and there's no traumatizing. Even though what I did is inappropriate, trust me, I know this is not, I did not traumatize her, but I know they traumatize children. You heard this woman, Catherine Nestor, and a young child, being damaged psychologically and physically. You heard the family of 5, these kids, the baby that's 3 weeks old, they thought this baby was going to die. You heard this 4-year-old being sexually, 4-year-old Down syndrome, 5-year-old harmed sexually, a 7-year-old with autism suffocating. They thought this kid was gonna die. So you understand, they're traumatizing these children. And so one immediately like, no. I purposely talked to this person because I know the reality of things, and you want to create this fantasy where you almost made me imagine her being a lesbian because she was so traumatized that it's so disturbing. But there's reality, and I will not let them escape from reality. Because listen to now what they do to women. This becomes even more disturbing. Because they have these ways of trying to make themselves be like, now we're some femme fatale, we're a fierce group of women, and because it's us doing that, you pay. And they try to bring up whoever this woman, they try to utilize, to say, now we pay for Courtney or Brittany. I'm like, what? The reason why they stop talking about them so much is because they have done so much destruction to women, and they are speaking up so much. I can right now find a new target individual who's a woman, and she's going to talk about being raped. They are doing that. There's so many testimonials of women being tortured, and a lot of them are raped, use this sexual torture onto them. So many of them that you're going to hear this man say this. Rape is commonly used not only on men, but on a lot of women. Literally saying that it's extremely common. And then you're going to hear this. Listen to this.
I mean, if you talk to the victims, the TIs, one of the worst breakdowns, and it's pretty common. I think I can say the word simulated rape. And forced orgasm.
You can say anything you want. This is the internet.
Okay. And so simulated orgasms and rape is extremely common, and especially violating for women. They complain about that torture breakdown the most.
Justice.
You mean as far as the Justice Department feeling me?
Well, in terms of your being a victim.
You mean what I'm feeling?
Yeah, explain a little bit to me how you perceive yourself as being.
I have actual photographs of burns on my body. When I went to my doctor, the response was, how do I know you didn't do that to yourself? How do you even address that? I've passed 2 psychological evaluations, not 1 but 2. The one physician said, you're mentally sound as a bell. He said, I don't have any idea what's going on with you. When I go to sleep, when I go to try to sleep, I feel like I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree. I feel every cell in my body just bouncing out of my body. I can't even describe it. I get electric shock up my rectum. I get electric shock up my nose. I've woken up with burns on the end of my tongue. I've had burns on the palms of both of my hands. I vibrate. I can barely hold a piece of paper without quivering. Does that answer your question?
I'm trying to find what's the source of these.
The source are these exotic weapons. They talk about in 2976 that if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women. They sent me to the mental ward because they said I did this to myself. So it never hurt me. I have been a victim since 2007. You can't see this. Life has been destroyed in every possible way, and every day has been a struggle for me. I'm very grateful to be before you today, due to Amy Anderson's due diligence and to everyone else involved. I thank you, council members, for giving us targeted individuals a chance to speak and to be heard. And I pray.
Involving many combinations of sensory and motor manipulation of my mind and body, and of the people around me. This includes many different types of zaps to varying degrees to the genitals, butt, anus, and the entire pelvic area. This also includes many kinds of movements, such as the rocking, swaying, jolting, vibrating, and shaking of my entire body or various body parts, specifically in a sexual way. The severe vibration is a highly noxious stimuli and is very intolerable. They sometimes do pulses or throbbing sensations on the genitals too, etc. There are also body movements such as rocking my pelvic area back and forth, repeated rubbing sensations, the sensation of something going up my crotch and in and out, etc. They also often force vaginal discharges and zap my genitals at the same time. These sexual assaults are present throughout the day, every day, and anytime I am awakened at night, every night. They range from mild to extreme, but usually involve daily and nightly continuous assaults for the past 3 years now. When severe, the zaps to the genitals feel as though someone is electrocuting my genitals repeatedly. The first incident of this was so extreme and highly traumatizing that it made me let out a most horrific, piercing scream. This is completely sensory, so it leaves no marks, but it feels like you're being thrown into a fire while still alive. One day in 2015, also I was awakened in the middle of the night with my left arm completely limp, as though there was no bone in it, or as though it had been paralyzed, and it had a horrific numb-like sensation in addition to a severe burning sensation. I awoke suddenly in the most extreme, piercing screams, not knowing what to do other than to just cradle the totally flaccid arm in my other hand while screaming hysterically, and then it quickly returned to normal but left me very traumatized. Something they have been doing for about the past 4 months or so has been the symptoms of a yeast infection, which they turn off or on, as well as up or down in severity. Right after nearly every shower, and sometimes during the shower, they do severe symptoms of a yeast infection, sometimes making me scratch my genitals so much that it leaves my genitals painfully raw, making it hard to walk or sit or go to the bathroom. Anything electronic. They have even locked me out of my office building that uses an electronic key. It is often very difficult and an immense battle just to even sit on the toilet to go to the bathroom. Not only because of the bowel and bladder manipulation, but also because of the frequent severe sexual assaults on the genitals, my butt and anus, shaking, vibrating, and rocking my body back and forth, and forced eyeball movements.
Back here will be, has the list of folks that will be offering comment. And maybe the thing to do is to just dive into that. I want to remind you before we do that the commission, of course, is charged by President Obama to be looking at bioethical issues generated by novel and emerging research in biomedicine and related areas of science and technology, and to promote policies and practices that assure ethical responsibility. And remind you that the specific charge on this meeting has been around looking at on the topic of federal standards regarding human subjects. And the plan is that Mr. Juan Chuck back here will be and the amount of each person I believe has a minute and a half is the way we've been able to try to cram in as many comments as possible. So, Juan, if you're ready for the first,
Ms. Cassandra Lewis.
Hi, Ms. Lewis.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Cassandra Lewis, and I'm a targeted individual from Baltimore, Maryland. My story may sound disjointed. I'm trying to keep it within the minute and a half. I worked as a legal secretary at Hogan & Hartson in Washington, D.C. It is now called Hogan Lovells. Attorney Jan McDavid made a client mistake that she tried to blame on me. I then refused to work for Ms. McDavid. Shortly thereafter, strange and inexplicable events occurred on my job, and after being fired, followed me to my home and to all my travels. Attorney Christopher J. Hagan, formerly of Hogan and Hartson. Mr. Samuel Conrad, he's a retired security administrator of Hogan and Hartson. And Robert Johnston, who is the current firm administrator of Hogan Lovells, are responsible for my targeting. I believe to protect Miss McDavid's reputation, a phone call was made to whom and why they did this to me. I truly just speculate. Gang stalking and harassment was used to implement this non-consensual biotechnology application that is being used on me. I now experience involuntary limb movements. I receive stingings. I get pains to my head, to my abdomen, to my vaginal area, and to my anal area. I am receiving...
Miss Anya Briggs?
My name is Anya Briggs, and I am a private citizen and resident of New York City. I have been and continue to be experimented on against my will and without my permission as a human test subject and as a targeted individual forced into trauma-based mind control programs. Because of this ongoing experimentation, torture, and abuse since 2008 and before, in a way, I'm very sorry to address you like this because I think that what you're doing is very admirable. But I'm here to represent this other group, and I am also targeted, and this is my story. My name is Sandra Field. I'm an architect, recipient of Who's Who of Women in America Achievement Award, and have run a successful business for over 28 years. My life and livelihood have been compromised for the last 11 years by being attacked by electromagnetic radiation torture and by organized stalking. I cannot live in my rent-stabilized apartment in New York City as a result of this torture. I'm currently staying in motels and friends' houses in the last year. Thousands of Americans are currently...
Hello, everyone. My name is Leslie Crawford. I'm here from the state of Michigan. I wanted to speak about biotechnology applications being utilized on my person. I have medical reports showing eye damage being done to my eyes. My eyes does not have a mirror image. I also have nanowiring inside my eyes. I have pictures of the actual implants from the eye doctor. Once enlarging the nano implants, you will see a copy of the actual particles in my eyes. I have CAT scans, MRIs, and PETs showing wiring, nanowiring in my head. This is my brain. It's straight from the right side to the left side of my head. I also have implants in my chin, in the chin region on both sides. One side shows a wire, the other side shows the actual implant. Implant particle devices coming down through here. Projectiles of the nanoparticles on the side of my head. Enlarged pictures. These crimes is happening in America. This is a domestic problem, not only international. The victims is not being just victimized individually. We are being victimized and our family members as well. Gang stalking tactics and harassment was utilized to implement us into this program unconsensually.
Leslie, I think your comments reinforce much of what we've heard, and if you don't mind, I'd like to make room for others at the microphone now, since it seems to be reinforcing. Juan, I'd ask you to pick some of these gentlemen right here. Yeah.
She's been waiting.
I'm sorry, who's been waiting? Oh, yeah, please.
Okay, my name is Eugenia Durden.
I'm sorry, Eugenia?
Eugenia Durden, yes. Everything I've heard from this commission and this panel about ethics, they were mostly talk about pharmaceuticals research, but I haven't heard anyone talking about a psychotronic weapon research or bioelectromagnetic weapon research. Who in this panel are familiar with the psychotronic weapon? Raise your hand, please. Who of you know about psychotronic weapons? Any one of you? Psychotronic bioelectromagnetic weapons. Are you familiar with that?
Not at all.
No? Okay, in this audience, is anybody familiar with a psychotronic weapon? Okay, the audience is familiar with that, and I think that in order for a panel or a commission to be able to help this problem and this issue, we'll have to have more knowledge on what psychotronic weapons are. I am physically leashed from my neck to the electromagnetic power of one of the weapons that is being used against me. I get tortured day and night. At night is with nightmares and all kinds of dreams that I don't want in my head. And throughout the day is my body. They prod with my neurological system, so they do anything to my body. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it makes me sick. It makes me want to throw up. Sometimes I feel I'm going to have a heart attack. They do all kinds of things like jitter, pulsating with the electromagnetic frequencies. They use a program called virtual reality that makes them feel that they are right in there in front of you. And as you know, electricity travels as fast as the light. And you know how fast that travels, right? How fast does it travel? Anybody?
186,000 miles a second.
Very good.
Yes.
86.
Pinpoint one person, it's everybody, it's all the time, and so it discredits your character and your state of mind, which, starts to make everybody believe something's wrong with you, and then you start believing something's wrong with you. But it's not you, and you know that it's not you. It's just hard to prove, but don't go get mental health help. Don't see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Most of the time they're involved too. Your police are involved, your firemen, ambulance, people at hospitals, they're all involved. And it's unfortunate that we live in a society that gets a kick out of doing people like that. But it is what it is. The only thing you can do is stay strong and focus on the people you love. I was lucky enough to have my mother who was going through the same thing that I was going through. They started saying all kind of crazy stuff to her jobs and
electronic harassment, microwave torture, V2K abuse, and I'm asking you to help us end this crime against humanity, which has impacted men, women, children all around the world.
Hi, I'm Wan from Malaysia. My family are targeted individuals. We are victims of cyber torture, and I will not give up. I will fight to the end.
And I'm a victim of organized
we need this to stop.
Electronic harassment. And I'm speaking to you on International Targeted Individual Day. I live in the U.S., in Illinois, and I'm a victim of organized
we need this to stop.
Electronic harassment, microwave torture.
I've been targeted for 9 years.
24/7.
Please become more aware of this crime and those that the crime is being committed against. We need your support and help in ending this crime.
Hello, my name is Wendy Brown. I'm a targeted individual who is living in New Zealand.
but my targeting began in California. I'm an American citizen, and the targeting continues in New Zealand. I'm making this video in remembrance of Targeted Individual Day, our third annual Targeted Individual Day. And I'm asking that every honest-hearted human being open their eyes to a crime.
My name is Jeanette. I am 56 years old and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I am a victim of covert electronic harassment and torture. I am a targeted individual.
Wishes to hand down.
Why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. It's brutally painful. I have a house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, first floor, second floor, 2 garage, backyard, land, everything. Can't live in my house. My neighbors are shooting direct energy weapons through my house. I hold my heart like this. You know why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. Come get me. Oh, Lord, because I think I'm dying. I'm making this video
in an attempt to expose this horrific nightmare.
Hello, I'm making this video to honor the 3rd annual Targeted Individual Day. That's August 29th, 2020. My name is Linda Marie Sharp in Mendocino County, California, United States. I am a targeted person and have been for over 12 years. I am electronically tortured by directed energy weapons.
Hi, my name is Lisa.
So it's clear that this program is torturing women all around the world, and the tortures are horrible. Matter of fact, in the last video you heard me say this is impacting men, women, and children all around the world. Right? So you have these people here. Tell me I should pay for it. This is what they're involved in. Oh, with me, sometimes, like, well, what they usually do is like, no, it's our money. We're this group of women, and because we're women, it's different type of group, because we actually support these women that are being tortured here with our money. This is so delusional in thinking that I'm going to identify with this fantasy of what they portray this thing to be about. Because even that, it's been validated that the truth is there's a lot of females doing that to women. And you heard that this woman's like, even at work, this is happening to me. Some people at work, and I'm sure it's not just men saying that to her at work, but even co-workers of hers who are women said some foul things to her mother. I mean, you hear the testimonials of how horrible things are for them. There's a lot of women all around the country, even the world, dealing with this nastiness. Just because they're just test subjects in this program, and this is what's happening to them. Listen to this woman literally say, there's a lot of females doing these things or partaking in this. Listen to that.
But I was going to be shot in the face, and it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, he's surely shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voices Skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's nothing wrong with them, basically.
This is the things that target individual who are women to say. Some of them. I mean, she's not the first one to say, oh, the people interacting with her sound like women. And I know, obviously, it's not, this PSYOP is a PSYOP. It's supposed to look a certain way. It's kind of comical if you it's like a clown-like. Like, this, what we're going through, for me, what I'm going through, is a mixture of horror and comedy. This very comical aspect of things here, the way they want me to believe this fantasy. Like, I'm like, how can you even, like, it's almost like laughable. But I know this is horrible things I'm experiencing. I know my life is being manipulated in ways that's just disturbing. Everything in my brain is changed in certain ways. That's disturbing. So it's not laughable in that sense, but it's laughable to think that I should be accepting of these things. That I'm going to identify with these manipulations. As if I don't know that my mind is being altered. Like, not only I know myself, but you obviously hear the testimony that clearly says that they manipulate your brain. That your thoughts are manipulated in these perverted, disgusting ways. And on top of that, you give validations in ways that are just magical. Listen to this person, right? They went on a podcast, right? And there's a target individual called Lynn, and the Dr. Robert Duncan that wrote books about being a target individual and how they have these tactics of altering the mind and creating this personality. And the ability to just manipulate your brain, make you perceive things the way they want you. Like, the manipulation is meant to break you down, but there's a purpose behind that. Why are we dealing with these kind of things? Is this how sadistic can things be? But there's a purpose for this being this sadistic program. It's unfortunately that we're just test subject. Listen to this.
Develop delusional disorder. This is a paranoid schizophrenia. But first of all, nobody develops paranoid schizophrenia in the 50s, in their 50s. This is, if you haven't developed it by 30, it's not. Then this technology exists. These nefarious programs exist. And it's hard to imagine for a person that why would you do something like this? But if you think about the new type of warfare,
cognitive warfare.
Exactly, it's a cognitive warfare. You don't have to kill people that you are fighting against. You can just degrade their brain. You can
you alter their minds.
Yeah, alter their minds,
personalities.
And it's like Chinese torture. I mean, this. Yeah. Okay, so
as he said, the future of warfare will change. It will be a cognitive warfare instead of what we're seeing today. This is the future of warfare, at least in this situation. I'm sure there's going to be benefits coming from that aren't warfare related. But in this case, it's the case. This is what's happening. Right now, as I'm saying that they're making noise campaign, they try to. I mean, this is like I said, comical. Because apparently this noise campaign done by these neighbors of mine are supposed to make me identify with this thing. But in fact, some of the comical things they say to try to come to what's happening there, because obviously they're using test subjects to develop this weapon that are cognitive related. So we are just test subjects for this cognitive warfare of the future. And they're using us as samples to see what works, what doesn't work, what's efficient, what doesn't efficient, what will drive an individual in this insanity state. Creating these matrices of like what's the best ways of breaking people down. You know how some of these childlike people saying what they're saying, oh, it's war, we are war. It's like trash. As obviously we're not a war. Unfortunately, we use as test subject for this war technology. It's like basically we are just like objects that they're using to improve this technology. These weapons. At least in that sense, we're not object, obviously. We're human beings, but we're being treated as just this target used to improve this technology. And some of these targets are children and women. And this is how this technology gets better. I've understood that. But some of this... the evilness of how foul this thing is about is the truth is they truly want to push a target into death by whatever means. Some of this means are inclusive of mass shootings. Yes, this is how evil. So these people here say, pay now. Talk about me as a child here. Try to even exaggerate this thing I did as a child to try to create this fantasy that they are here avenging. Are actually also involved in a program where they've pushed men to lose their mind to the point of killing others, causing some of the largest mass shooting in this country that we know. Some of this target individual who some of them have literally said, hey, I'm doing this because I'm being used as a test subject for this technology. It's being applied onto me. I'm being influenced mentally like this. I'm being tormented in these ways. And, this is why I'm doing this. Can you imagine being involved in these things and still try to create this fantasy of what this is about? It gets that crazy. This is why it can get this comical. We are used as test subject, and as test subjects, they can even push us to cause mass shootings. Because the anger, the torment we get. Imagine you are a target individual, right? You deal with all this manipulation that you just heard. You're being manipulated in all these different ways. You get angry. You have weapons. You don't care. They're pushing you to kill you. They literally, in some cases, they say, you hear testimonies of like, kill yourself. They say that many times for me. And you're angry. It's like, oh, really? You want me to kill myself? Okay, well, let me go kill myself, but I'm not dying alone. Let's all go. And you have guns, and you well-trained guns. You know how to use guns. What do you think is going to happen? Yes, they are pushing people to even cause mass shootings. Listen to this.
Stable individual. This shotgun is the primary murder weapon. On it, he etched a number of carvings, including "End to the Torment," "Better Off This Way," and "My ELF Weapon." Alexis had been hearing voices and believed he was being bombarded by microwaves, something naval authorities knew about.
There are multiple indicators that Alexis held a delusional belief that he was being controlled or influenced by extremely low frequency, or ELF, electromagnetic waves.
And in his computer files, the FBI found this.
A document retrieved from the electronic media stated, quote, "Ultra-low frequency attack is what I've been subject to for the last 3 months. And to be perfectly honest, that is what has driven me to this."
And so on what should have been a routine day, Alexis killed 12 people. Mothers, fathers, sons, daughters. Diane, they never had a chance, and still no answers as to why so many red flags were missed.
As you say, so many red flags.
About his time spent here in New Mexico.
As sick as this may sound, I've even had stalkers follow me into church while I was in Las Cruces and in Houston. I've had stalkers follow me into church to harass me.
May had worked as a prosecutor in Las Cruces just weeks before the shooting. In his last words, May speaks of his paranoia and coins himself as a targeted individual who's been a victim of stalking and harassment. He talked about a trip to Houston where he said cars would drive by and honk their horns every 10 minutes to keep him on the edge and agitated.
Father, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Forgive me for all of my sins, past sins, present sins, any future sins.
In Maine last week, from New York Times, I'm Michael Barbaro. This is The Daily. Today, the mass shooting that occurred in Maine last week, killing 18 people, was the country's deadliest of the year. It may also have been one of the most avoidable.
Army reservist, and the documents show that these warnings concerned his deteriorating mental health, rising paranoia and anger, and they came from pretty much every part of his life. But as we now know, none of those warnings prevented this mass shooting.
Well, Nick, where should we start in the story of those warnings? You mentioned that they go back many months.
I mean, the first time when the local police are really they're going to the police and saying that he has access to a large number of firearms. I mean, they were very worried about him, and I think what they also were struggling with is not understanding where to get him help and what kind of intervention might lead him to be more aggressive and more isolated.
So what's the response from the local police after the family has this conversation with them?
the deputy has this conversation with the ex-wife and the teenage son and seems to talk to them at length and learn a lot about Card's behavior and his career in the Army Reserves. He was in the Army Reserves for 20 plus years at that point. And the deputy and the ex-wife basically decide that the best place to get help is probably through the Army Reserve. It's access to a large number to hear voices. He's teenage son and the ex-wife say that he has started to hear voices. He's started to be increasingly paranoid and angry. They also note he has collected about 10 to 15 West Point, New York for an annual training exercise. And there's a very concerning incident that takes place. They're all hanging out together at a motel, and he starts accusing them of calling him a pedophile. This is one of his paranoid delusions that comes up repeatedly.
What do you mean by that? It's happening at work?
At work, I had to quit my job, go to a different place to try to leave it, and then it's there as well. So,
What were they saying at work?
and everywhere, so yeah.
What do you mean by
Making
that?
a lot of sense.
What do you mean by that? It's happening at work?
At work, I had to quit my job, go to a different place to try to leave it, and then it's there as well. So,
What were they saying at work? What kind of stuff were they?
yeah, I'm a pedophile. I like little boys. I like little girls.
And what kind of stuff were your friends talking about?
Same exact stuff. It's the same thing.
Do the people at where you work know the people that you serve with?
They live in Lewiston. They're all somewhat close areas.
But do they know each other? Do they know each other?
I don't know.
So when you say you hear bits and pieces, how do you hear the bits and pieces?
Just thrown in conversation.
So, this is horrible things that you just heard. Now, these perps participate in this. The storylines and the fantasies of how they try to create these storylines of what they're part of is disgusting. Now, I've humiliated these people because for some reason, I don't know if they thought I was going to be this retarded. And I'm sorry for using that word, but this is truly the only way I can describe how they want you to start thinking. I've seen this person, this perp, living next to me. Cowardness is not even a word to describe how cowardly these people are. It's cowardness on steroids. They can do these horrible things to you remotely. And then you see them in person. You see the level of cowardness. But when they were interacting with you via V2K, you would think that this is one of the most fiercest human being talking to you. And then you look at this person in person, because now the luxury of doing what she was doing to you remotely is no longer a luxury. You see them getting lost in another world where they literally want to escape the reality of being in the real world. That now, talk to me to how much of a God you are. Let me look at you, the God that you are. Do you know, via voice to call, they have this they think they have a mistake. To me, I can hear a child try to sound a certain way. I heard this person say in a language, say, "Oh, they're gonna rape you so much, you're gonna be, oh, they're gonna do something to you so much that they're gonna destroy you so much that you're gonna be in the hospital." And it's like, listen, I know why this is happening to that level. Can you imagine? Look at these people like them. Have this deluded reality where I'm supposed to not think that this is about this program that is torturing women and children, causing mass shooting, doing the foulest things ever. And you have trash like them saying, nah, you pay for what you've done there, but involved in this. One point, they also want me to believe, but you know what we're doing? Actually, we're saving these women. We joined this program because we're doing this. Like, you're saving. Do you think that I don't understand what you're involved in? This involvement consists of you participating in a program that tortures women. For every woman that's perhaps taken out of this program, there's probably 100 putting in. Because at the end of the day, you heard what this is about. It's about a weapon development. How did they develop this weapon? It's because they're using human subjects of all sorts, men, women, and children. When the budget grows, they will utilize more test subjects. This is not because they want to destroy the life of women or even the men. It's because they have a need. The need is using human subjects that come in all shape and form, in all genders. They still want me to think in this deluded reality. No, you're just a participating, and I won't be surprised if the people tell me that they're saving women, whatever. Matter of fact, have themselves partaked in the torture of women. Matter of fact, some of them let me know, we've done that to more innocent people than you. Let me know that, please understand that we've done things to more vulnerable people than you. Because when you heard that first letter I wrote, I was saying I couldn't believe they could do that to people more. I was like, me, you do that? Why would you even do that to me? And I was like, wow. The guy was telling me we do that to people more innocent than you. And I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way. You guys can be this evil. I've underestimated the level of evilness, not because of what they're doing to me, but it's like, there's no way you could do that to more innocent people than me. You can't be that evil. I couldn't believe it. And of course, I found out about this. This is their evil. That they are truly this level of evilness, but the cowardness of this evilness is another level, because they can partake in this program that does these evil things, not only to men, but women and children partake in that. And you heard women literally involved in the torture of other women. But because this technology can create a false reality, these perps know very well that this false reality. They have no shame of creating a false reality. No shame. They could be like, no, we're saving them. And then when I see who's this talking to, I say, oh no, save yourself. It's like, yeah. Because I know that you're not saving them. Matter of fact, I know some of you doing these things to me literally have participated in the torture of women. But still want to create these mistakeful beings. Oh no, we pay. You just heard this evilness. Their evils. That consists of from torturing from babies to women to causing mass shooting, all while working for governmental entities that are running this evil program. And this trash still wanting to design this fantasy. Now I know I've humiliated people to the point where they've been okay with just saying, you know what? Yes, we're gonna torture you even more than what we're gonna do the worst of the worst. Okay, with these people that you just heard being tortured this way, we want to do even worse than that. Oh, so you're gonna torture me in worse fashion that you torture this woman, these children? Because this program is the reason why you're able to torture me this way. And by the way, what provokes them the most? The provoking reality. For me, it's just been so bad how I've humiliated them. I know that my torture is going to be so bad just based on what you just heard. You have perps who somehow wanted to be perceived in this fantasy-like ways of there are this avenging, fierce group of femme fatale. You see who's talking to you. You see cowardness. You've been validated that there's a bunch of women doing that to women. Sorry, females doing that to women. To find out there's a bunch of defenseless women in this program they're involved in their evil, being tortured in whatever fashion, that even I was there to bring the awareness of it, that this is happening to men, women, and children all around the world, and these people are involved in this. There's this childlike mentality in these people that's why I'm saying this is a mixture of comic and horror. The horror is going to be the torture I'm going to go through, especially the way I've humiliated them by just saying the obviousness. You just heard these things. Literally, somebody say they try to make it seem like this is everything but this massive government doing that to you. This massive government that is even torturing babies. But they still try to present themselves in these ways, whatever they can, to try to make you believe that you are the threat, you are the danger, you are the one deserving to be tortured in every way. Them involved in this, what you just heard in these things, aren't the ones supposed to be perhaps things should be done to them. involving this evilness that you heard. Pure evil in every way you can imagine. But on top of that evilness, the cowardness in their evilness is another level. Not only you're evil, but you're even a coward. And that's why you can see some of the weakest, cowardly human being partake in this. Some of them so delusional. This one person who said this thing, that's when I knew something's off with them. That's when I knew that reality is just being like detached. There's a level of reality they blocked out. Something has happened to them in their brain for them to cope with this reality. This person said, oh, everything has its time. Somehow, her involved in this terribly evil thing they're part of did not connect the things that, oh, I'm the one calling myself a god, because they have this ability to talk to you via V2K and say these things to you, right? Via V2K. Voice of call. They call themselves gods. When you see who's calling themselves gods, it's comical. The same people calling themselves gods. We're your gods. You're gonna die. Pay. These people involved in a program that torture children, babies, rewire the brains the way they rewire the brain. See how they're gonna watch you suffer and die and pay. Oh, this person blocks out the reality that what she just said actually is very much true, but more like the way she doesn't want to connect things with, because it's usually the people who call themselves gods, who involve in these disgusting programs or involved in things that's so evil, that tend to have these things happen to them. Yes, today you're a god. Today, you're God. You're going to watch me die, suffer, scream. But everything has its time. Today, you can open the door and say, suffer, and close the door and slam the door. You involved in this program. You involved in a program where defenseless women are being tortured. Children are being tortured. Mass shootings are being caused by people who call themselves gods. And you see the cowardness of these people. They're the one who push somebody to cause a mass shooting, but they will not be the one being shot at. I've seen some of this cowardly in person. Oh, the look they had. Not that I was going to be aggressive toward them, but I was looking at them for the shit that they are. Truly. Almost, this person almost wanted to dive. Like, I never see her eyes to which she was looking down. I was like, oh my goodness. This is the person dedicating her time doing this thing to me. Yes, please continue. I will never tell somebody like that to stop doing what she's doing and do something that's dignified. Continue, please. God, since you don't think anything, what you just say applies to you, that everything has its time. You looking like that, please. Oh, you go watch me in all suffering. Matter of fact, do not do anything but watch me and dedicate more time in my sufferings. I'm going to show you how much of a prophet I am in my sufferings. Oh, and once she said something, oh, you're never going to see us suffer. I was like, do you think that I care about these perps? These perps here, they live a deluded reality. If any of these people here, even that person all the way there, tell me how they can put arsenic in my drinks to poison me, I will never want to see this person die. I don't care. I don't care. I would never want to see somebody like that suffer. Why? Why would I dedicate my time? Just suffer without me knowing that. I don't need to know this fact. Funny enough, certain things are happening. Not to me only. Suffering is happening. And I have no care about knowing who's suffering that's doing that to me. Truly. It doesn't do. It's like, okay, it's happening. This person is going through this thing. Okay, good. Not good. Like, it's not even good for her. It's not even like, I'm not even happy about it. It's just like, interesting. You're watching me suffer. You've watched me go through hell. But you got something waiting for you that you don't know how it's going to end. That's why I want them to continuously dedicate this to this lifestyle, and then create this story, like this storyline where they somehow the one saving, supporting this woman begging for help, for support, like this woman.
Research. I too believe my experience is referred to as no-touch torture, utilizing defense technologies. Jonathan Marino, he basically predicted all this a number of years ago in his book Undue Risk. I'm asking you to help initiate a congressional investigation. We've all come a long way. This is what is needed. We want to have the accounts of this extreme human rights abuse that's going on in our country documented and heard, all of the accounts. We also need what was done during the Clinton administration, which is a major declassification of some of these documents that are hiding what's been going on. I speak for many when I say we've suffered long enough. My personal experience has been 10 years. I've been vilified. I've been ostracized. I've been tortured. I have burns on my body. I'm an American. I have rights. The answer to the question, the big question today, could it happen today? The answer is yes, it is happening today. It is happening for some of us every day. I am begging for you to help us. Thank you.
When I was listening to this testimonial, this group of special individual comes out and says, "Oh, begging, huh? Begging." I was like, yes. This is the people saving these women. Oh, by the way, as I was listening to this testimony, they tell me how I'm going to be gagging because when they frame me, and guess how they're going to frame? Yes, the top tier way they frame people. I'm going to be raped and this and that. I'm like, listen, I don't want to go through all these horrible things you tell me, but I can reassure you that it's better than live the life that you live. They've been humiliated by reality and they're trying to counter. And I've been, I guess, provoking them by bringing up the testimonials of these poor women being tortured in this fashion, which I guess is provoking to them. Because somehow they should be left, if they should leave that fantasy they've put together. Never. I'd rather be gagging, I'd rather be suffering, I'd rather be in the hospital dying in the ER than be living life in this coward, disgusting life before whatever happens to me when the time comes, because we know everything has its time. So when you see these people and they're like, oh, you're gonna pay for it, die for it, do this, and you just heard who's talking to you, what they're involved in, and what they're participating in. The ability to create this fantasy and block out the reality. No, I'd rather die and suffer for it. Just like this child is being suffocated for it. Just like this poor 18 people died for it. Just like this woman is begging for it. I will never let this slow life escape. Never. I can't. That's my purpose, I guess. That's my dignified purpose, because everything has its time. And my time right now is to make sure that this slow life do not escape for it.